No.
It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
We're back. It's Berkey and Badger live on the Board Game Babble Show. How you doing there, Badger?
I'm doing very well. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. But hello. Hello, everybody who's joined us live. How you all doing? Hope you're going to join us for our Babble topic. Talk it out. That's what you meant. You're going to have to really excuse me. If I have an air of fatigue, it's not because Berkey's telling me a really boring story which I've heard 15 times before. It's a case of not getting much sleep at all because baby cries in night, mummy sleeps heavy, daddy is light sleeper and hears every pin drop and just has to do all this.
So player number 4 is just moving the tokens all around the board all night long. Is that what's going on?
Yes, and probably swallowing a couple at the same time, which is not a good idea. Yeah, player number 4 is in the house. I'll see if I can find a picture for you.
In the house. Player number 4 in the house. You could make, yeah, okay. Crickets.
They got rid of crickets. But
yeah, look at that.
There's player number 4.
How awesome is that?
And guess what his name is? You've muted your microphone, Berkey. Nobody can hear what you're saying. You've muted your microphone.
Oh, I did because I have to cough. Hang up. I'm gonna mute. So I look. Okay, I'm not gonna mute first. I'm gonna not cough even though I have to, and I'm gonna say Don Lyles and Ben Steeler is on the show. Who do you think the name of player number 4? What is his name?
There's a clue in the image.
There's a clue. Quentin. Ben says Quentin. Nice name.
Yeah, it is a nice name. It's not very French though.
No, not French.
Yeah, Quentin.
Well, I see a Batman logo. That's got to mean something.
Bruce.
Bruce, yes. Bruce Wayne.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're close. You're really
Alfred.
Close. No,
yeah, that's a great name to call your kids. Alfred.
Yeah. Bruce Alfred Doublet. Bruce Alfred Doublet.
Yes.
No, I don't like it. Okay, well, let us know.
Yeah, we'll leave that open for debate, shall we?
Oh, okay. We weren't going to tell anyone then.
No. I'll settle this here and now. It's Robin. After many months of debating what the name was going to be called, we was either going to call him Anthony or Tristan. That was the other one. But my daughter and I have been calling the bump Robin for many months. And when he arrived, it was a case of my wife just said, oh, we'll call him Robin. And there it was. I won. A game that I won at.
It's awesome. That's just so fantastic. I'm so happy for you guys. It's a whole new stage of life. That's just awesome, brother.
It's a recap. It's like playing Monopoly again for the first time after 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a space, man. That's a space. We have 4 children, and we did ours in 2s, and they're about a year and a half apart. But Hannah and Maddie came first, and then we had a little break that was almost 6 years, and then Josiah and Gabrielle came along. So, but we did them in those pairs, but pretty close together. So,
okay, cool.
Well, that's fantastic. So, what else have you been up to there, Sir Badger?
What else have I been up to? Sorry, I'm looking for it on the script. What have I been up to? I know what I've been up to. We're doing the mailbag, are we?
You've been up all night.
Oh, I've been up all night.
All night
and all
long.
day.
All night.
Yeah, so yeah, I finally got a video review out after all that trouble with the bump in Player 4, and been doing wallpapering. So I apologize if I have paste and it puts you off, but yeah, busy.
Busy. Yeah, you know, I just got back from the Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, and just had an amazing time there. I was helping Arcane Wonders with the game Spoils of War. And again, Arcane Wonders is our sponsor of the show, and we're really grateful for that. But I have developed a relationship with the owner and a lot of the staff there over the years, and just have had these awesome experiences working with them for a variety of different things. But in addition, we did a lot of demos. We're going to actually be doing our Knights of Babblelot today. And the feature game is their new hit game that's in stores now, Spoils of War. Chew. So that's going to be awesome. But I got to tell you something that we just did. You notice all of this here?
The age of color, the color of age.
Yes, that's what it is. It's my Gandalf beard. It's my Viking chieftain beard. Now the question is, to beard or not to beard?
But you haven't really quoted Shakespeare unless you've quoted it in real Klingon.
Jock me, jock.
You've just ordered something off the Japanese menu somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of gawk.
Hmm.
No, I am, you know, because of some new things that I'm involved with that we'll talk about a little bit with my business venture with Game Toppers, I'm thinking I need to start cleaning up a little bit, because this has been for the Spoils of War Vikings video that I was trying to look like that guy, or else they made the picture to make it look like this guy. But I've been growing this thing since November. It's like I'm having a hard time letting go of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so to beard or not to beard?
Ooh. Hey, look at me. I look like you.
Hey, look at that. I like that guy. Hey, very handsome, very handsome. So I'm deciding whether to cut off my beard. So this may be the last hurrah for this length of beard for some time. But to commemorate it, this Tuesday night, we went to our local library, and Jesse Shaky, a good friend of mine, has facilitated this gaming for adults once a month at our local library. And we had a great time. I dressed up as the Viking. We advertised it. And then we had a bunch of people come, and we played Spoils of War. We played it on our Game Topper, too. It was really cool. I think I sent you some pictures of that, Barry.
You did. Am I supposed to be putting these pictures up while you're talking?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and do that. You're the quick one.
I'm the quick one, am I?
Well, and you're very technically savvy. I'm technically dangerous. You're technically savvy.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're playing
Savoy cabbage. I'm probably more Savoy cabbage than savvy.
Ben Hilliard from Daedalus has joined us, and he says, "Keep the beard, fear the beard, fear the beard." I don't know. Well, there's the prototype Game Topper. We're playing 10 players playing Spoils of War. Wow. And I got to tell you, what a blast. People were hooting, and it was just so much fun. This here's a picture of us at Origins, dressed in the Viking costume. Good friends. That's actually from NYMEX Games. That's Tammy and Nathan Wright. They've got a game called Game of Energy. And they're just the most lovely people from Kentucky, and got to spend some time with them there. We're demoing Spoils of War at the Origins Game Festival.
Wow, it must be a thing, all these games with an "of" in the middle. Clash of Rage, Spoils of War, Game of Energy.
There it is.
Berkey of Badger.
There's Jesse. Look at him. Arcane Wonders was so gracious to donate a copy of Spoils of War and the new expansion to Onitama, Sensei's Path, and they donated that to the Fergus Falls Public Library, and so that's now a part of our gaming library, which is just many thanks to them. Jesse, he's such a hoot. He wore Lance Meister's Viking helmet with pride. At one point, he had it as a rally cap, and it was coming out the front of his forehead. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. Just super busy doing all those fun things, representing the company and the game, but really been working diligently and just amazing amount of hours getting our Game Toppers project to fruition and making that the best that I can make that. And I am so excited. I wish I could show you pictures. It's better than I dreamed. I'm so thrilled about it. And you're going to be hearing a little bit more about that later. So.
Okay, yeah. Now I've caught up with my show notes. Sorry about that, people. Oh yes, I was away at the UK Game Expo a long time ago, it seems, and I was doing some work on demoing. If you can see this dude, yeah. Are you guys starting to put 2 and 2 together now?
Batman.
Yeah, I was demoing the new Monolith game, which is coming to Kickstarter at the end of the year and the beginning of next year, called Batman. And again, we'll talk more about that later on. But yes, games. That's what we're here for, talking about games.
That's what people really want to hear about. They don't really want to hear about what we've been doing. They just want to hear about what we've been playing. Is that right?
Possibly. Or they want to hear about things that make us go,
Things that make you go, This is our news segment.
Things that make us go, Board game news. Berkey and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but they're all things that make us go,
Yeah. We're just dancing to the music.
I'm on a roll tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've got like a really good bug.
A bug?
A bug.
What kind of bug? Mosquito?
Bat bug, potato.
Bed bug? Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah.
If they do, hit them with your shoe till they're black and blue.
Possibly, yes.
Okay. Well, things that make you go, what's making you go, Barry?
Okay. Not much has been making me go, There's a lot of, again, lots and lots of Kickstarters. And I want to carry on from probably what we spoke about on the last show, but the last show was like so long ago due to the fact that we've both been eternally trapped in this wheelhouse of working. I don't know. I've just forgotten.
It's hard to keep up. It's hard. You got conventions, you got life, you have work, you have all these things, and it's hard to keep up. But we're doing our best to put out 2 shows a month, and we hope you guys love it. But boom.
So yeah. But I was talking about Kickstarters, and that there were some really good ones out there, but for some reason they weren't making a lot of money, which I found really bizarre. And Kevin pointed out in the show that possibly people were saving their pennies for something else, and of course I think they were, because what came along about a week or so later was the Zombicide Green Horde. Within a matter of minutes, it was like at $1 million within like the first hour or 2, which is incredible.
I just got the update on this, and it just ended, and I didn't jump in on this one. I probably should have, but it raised almost $5 million.
Yeah. The final value is, where is it? I had it. Where is it?
I'm scrolling on the screen, but my screen isn't moving because you're not doing it.
That's my screen you're scrolling. $5,004,000.
$5 million. Dollars.
Yes, incredible.
Remarkable. And they just got done with Rising Sun, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, and my worry is now that Kickstarter is only going to be for like a few select companies. It's only going to be profitable for a few select companies like Cool Mini or not. Other companies are going to struggle because people aren't going to want to invest their money in their brilliant game because they're saving their pennies for these big, massive, deluxe million-figure boxes, which they can get for $1 million each. It is a bit worrying, but at the same time, it's not worrying because it's Kickstarter, and we shouldn't be, you know, the gaming world shouldn't revolve around Kickstarter. It should be just be there on the side. You know, it should be like in the 5% of the game market, maybe less than 5% of the game market. But it feels like it's encroaching, you know, more and more every day into our lives. It's like most of the games that we get nowadays are Kickstarter games.
Well, and I've been doing a lot of studying on Kickstarter lately. Oh, cool, Barry. Awesome.
It's raining green water from the sky.
Your Vulcan blood just went all over the place. But I've been doing a lot of studying. I've been listening to Richard Bliss. Actually, a good friend, Ben from Daedalus Production, put me on to him, and I've been listening to a lot of this information about Kickstarter, learning a ton of information. Jamie Stegmaier, you know, one of the people that we readily recognized as the most respected and knowledgeable about Kickstarter, and as well as other people that have done this. And there's an interesting phenomenon happening now. You don't go to Kickstarter anymore with a dream on a napkin saying, help me make this. You have to go with a fully conceived, your art assets have to be in place. You pretty much have to publish the game almost in that sake. So it's a different environment. And yet, if you are active in the community and you're doing things to help build community and you communicate that thoughtfully and then present something, you can rise above the noise, so to speak. And that's really what it takes today, because there's so much noise. So you have to be doing something special, and you need to really do it well. Yeah, and the Richard Bliss, Ben asked about Richard Bliss. It's called Funding Your Dream with Richard Bliss, and you can get it on your iTunes feeds or whatever. They're 20-minute shows. They're very short. I've really enjoyed listening to him. A lot of industry leaders are on that show, so a little shout out to them. But I agree with you, Barry. There's a lot of stuff going on, and if you're going to be successful at Kickstarter, I think you have to be smart about it. Yeah,
and I'd agree with Don. You know, zombies are starting to become a bit meh, but Black Plague was quite an interesting thematic choice for a zombie game. So,
yeah, that's a good point, Don. I have Black Plague, and I played that at the CMON Expo, and it was really great. And like most of you know, I'm not a big RPGer, but I loved it. It was really a lot of fun, and it was a.
It's not an RPG. It's a dungeon. Well,
it's a dungeon crawl, but I mean, you're immersed in these roles, so I guess definitely not a role player. But I'm thinking that that's enough for me. I don't need to add the Green Horde theme to it, but that's just me. Well, one of the things that has been making me go is something I found out at Origins. Many of you know that I'm starting a company called Game Toppers, LLC, which I've actually started. I started working 1.5 years ago on it, and where we're bringing a portable gaming top to your home table. Basically converts your kitchen or dining room table into a high-end gaming solution with modular components. Now, Barry is showing you, this is a picture of our aluminum rail system with modular components. You can see the really nice cup holders, goblet holders. In addition to that, notice the cork inlay there. Ben from Daedalus produced that, and that covers the cup holder, so your cup holder will double as a cup or can of pop, whatever, beverage holder, but also as a component tray. Very sturdy aluminum, high quality, super classy. Everything we're putting out all the stops to make sure this is very high quality performance and everything. Thanks so much, Ben. Ben said it was beautiful. Thank you. We just worked really hard on it, and I'm so grateful for all the people that are contributing and giving me input. We've done a lot of market survey. Well, the thing that made me go which I didn't know until I arrived at Origins, is the largest manufacturer or I shouldn't say largest, but I should say one of the premier manufacturers of game tables in the industry, Geek Chic, has closed its doors.
Dun, dun, dun. Shock on.
Yeah, it's, you know, you'd think, you know, I'm starting a company and I'm thinking, you know, you'd think that I'd be real ecstatic about it. But honestly, it hit me kind of in a negative way. I felt really sad. Geek Chic, in my mind, is what so much of our gamers, we've aspired to have one.
Not me.
Haven't? Well, not you. I mean, it's like, yeah, but truth is, I can't afford it. I don't have $4,000 or $5,000 to drop on a table, and that's just the lower priced ones, you know. And Geek Chic was the standard, you know, and they brought something beautiful, and so I really feel sad about it. Honestly, I think you hate to see anybody have a failure, and so anyway, that it just kind of made my heart hurt a little bit. Even though maybe that opens up an opportunity for us, you know, to fill some void, but on the other side of it is like, I hate to see that happen when companies, and there's a lot of speculation as to why. I've seen their revenue reports. I've seen some things. We know about the Crash Games acquisition. There's a lot of speculation about why that they might have incurred a lot of debt in that. I don't really want to.
What's the Crash Games Inquisition? Sorry, I know Crash Games.
Well, it wasn't an inquisition, but maybe it was an excommunication. I don't know what it was. But well, basically what happened is Geek Chic purchased Crash Games, and they named it Crash of Games. And Patrick Nickel, many people...
It's Patrick, again. Of.
Yeah. I thought that I didn't care for that name change personally. You know, Patrick Nickel had Crash Games, and he did a lot of really neat things with that. And I don't know Patrick very well, but you know, he's well loved in the hobby. And anyway, yeah, he's yeah. So anyway, that didn't work out, and I don't know the details, and so I don't even want to speculate. I don't think that's fair. But there are some rumors that may have contributed to additional negative cash flow and so forth for Geek Chic. They had $2.5 million in revenue, annual revenue, and are reported to have over $200,000 a year in working operational loss. So obviously something wasn't working right, and I don't know what that was.
Interesting.
Long and short of it, one of our leaders in the industry is no longer. Now, whether or not they'll... Go ahead.
Maybe it's a case of there's more people coming along and doing tables as well. There's been more and more companies dropping up, and maybe they'll be doing it at a cheaper price, and therefore, you know, absorbing their custom.
Yeah, I think that might be. You know, a Geek Chic, you had to wait, you know, a year to 18 months, and you had to pay 50% down. I don't even know, you know, what happens to all the people that have orders in and, you know, have a couple grand in there. Do they get that back?
Yeah.
I hope so. Is the company going to restructure so that they can fulfill? I don't know the answers to these questions, but it definitely makes me go, I hope they're able to.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. If you've backed a Geek Chic table and they found out that they've closed down, let us know a little bit what's going on behind the scenes. Well, not behind the scenes, but, you know, what you know. Let us know so we know, so we can tell those people that don't know, like we don't know, what you know.
Yeah, I'm sure more information will come out and it'll become more clear. But anyway, that's what made me go, So should we move right into the good, the not so bad, and the ugly segment?
And not so bad. Wait for it. And the ugly.
Whoa. So tell us a little bit about what we're doing with the good, bad, and ugly, Barry.
Well, the good, the bad, and the ugly is our first impressions segment. This is where we've played games for the first time, and we give you like an overview and tell you whether we think it's good, bad, or ugly. Good is a game that we want. After we've played it, we want to play it again. A bad is kind of a not so bad, which means it's a game that we we might want to play again if the opportunity ever came our way. And an ugly game is a game that we would run away from. Run away! Run away! Vigilavash! What? Moo! So yeah, that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what are our memes? Because I don't know what they are.
Well, we've got a couple ones. The good.
Give me a second. Edit this out of the audio.
White space, white space, white space. Oh, the good. Wow, there's some little guys sitting on different colored frogs. It looks like they're on lily pads. And the one guy says, hey, I want to demo this. The other guy goes, yeah, I know, right? But like there's so many in line. What's the little red guy say?
It makes me hopping mad.
Yeah, there you go. That's the good. And the not so bad.
Is another game.
Yeah, look, what are those guys doing?
What game is this?
That is the game.
Colosseum?
Come on.
Colosseum?
It's Colosseum. It's the new Tasty Minstrel version of Colosseum.
And there's one guy going, oh, want to demo a game?
Yeah, so the next guy says, what am I getting myself into? He doesn't look happy either.
Yeah, probably a toga. I like togas.
Togas. Toga party.
Toga party.
Okay, yeah. There's the ugly. The ugly.
Oh, okay, boy. This is Cry Havoc. And
painted by my good buddy Ron Shady.
The real Ron Shady.
Yeah,
the real Ron Shadys are really imitating.
Yeah, just the fake one, but he's real.
He's real.
He's real. Well, so we've got the big green trog, and he says, "I will crush you." Yeah. The other guy, he's got his arms wide open.
What brace are they? I can't think what they're called. They're the ones that like the crystals. And they got
they're the mystic guys.
Mystic guys. And they're all going, oh, free hugs, lovey. Free hugs. Come on, give me a hug. Yeah.
Cute fuzzy trogs, Don says. It's a cute, he's a kinder and gentler trog. Yeah. All the other guys wanted was a hug, and he wanted to pop him on the head. Oh well.
Pop.
Well, so I'll start off.
What's the relevance of that? Those memes and our subject, sir.
Well, go ahead. What do you think?
I think it's something to do with pieces of a game.
Yes, pieces of a game.
Yes.
Yes, I know that.
Silly sausages.
Yes, pieces of a game. Yes, I love pizzas of game. A game of pizza. No, I just love pizza. Okay.
It's 7:30 in the evening. I'm starting to get hungry. I need another donut.
I just had lunch. It's just past midnight. Okay, the game I've been playing, Barry.
Yeah, go on.
Is this. This game comes in a box.
Oh, right, yeah, because we've got to guess by the
we have to guess. So all of you that are joining us live, you can guess too. Okay, but this game, the title of the game is actually a number. Very interesting. And it's a bidding.
504.
No, wrong.
42.
It's a bidding game.
45, is it? 42 or 45? One of those.
No, and it has numbers that are all the way around the board.
Yeah. It's that one that Dan King was bugging the hell out of everyone with. 49. Thank you, Ben. I knew it was 49.
Dan King was bugging the hell out of us.
Yeah. It wasn't 69, it was 49.
Yeah. Hey, everybody posts that on Twitter that Dan King is bugging the hell out of everybody with this game 49.
We should all bug the hell out of him when he turns 49.
49. I'm only 49.
Yay, I guess the game. Woo!
I'm going to be this for the next 10 years, 49. Bid, bluff, and buy your way to 4 in a row.
So tell us about 49 then, Berkey, and then I'll try and guess if you think it's good, bad, or ugly.
I'll
if
show
you guys
some
can guess as
pictures
well,
here.
write it down. Send a message.
All right. Basically, what you're doing is you've got these cards, and these cards have numbers on them, and you start out with $49 paper money, and you are bidding on these numbers. And if you win the bid, you get to put your chip on your color chip. They're those translucent, see-through little plastic chips. You can put it on the board, and then you're trying to get 4 in a row. If you're playing 5 players, you actually only have to do 3 in a row. But then there is kind of a circumference of numbers that are all in a square, and there are wild cards. And when wild cards are played, when that wild card is purchased, then everybody who has one of their chips on the board gets $7. So there's an economy that's going on. Okay. And so if I have 3 chips out there, I'm going to get $21 back. So do I spend a lot on this bid to get more chips on the board, even though they're not in sequence like I need them to be? Or do I bide my time? But then in essence, whenever a wild one comes up, I won't have any chips on the board. So there's a really interesting decision-making process about balancing your economy and future income versus getting in position to win the game. In a nutshell, that's it. There's the wild card 49 that lets you put on the most coveted spot, which is in the very center. The only problem with that is I think there's 3 or 4 of those cards. And if somebody else wins the bid, they displace you and actually take it right off the board. So you may have spent a lot of money to have that particular one and could lose it. But if you had enough money to win the next 49 card bid, for instance, you get to put that chip anywhere on the board. So there's some positive there too. And this here comes from Breaking Games. I've seen this in Target. Ben Steller, thank you very much. It comes from Breaking Games. It's created by Mark Corse. And so, Barry, what do you think I think about this? We played this with our family game night last week.
Well, you said interesting quite a few times. So I'm going to think that you think this game is good.
You think I think that because that's what Dan King has been scaring the hell out of us with?
Yeah, possibly, yes. Yeah, I think it's your type of game. It's a simple, abstract kind of thinky game. You're a businessman as well, so there's some calculus as well by the sound of the thing you gave me. What's the words? The description. That's the thing. The thing is description. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wish I did a better job of descriptions, but you don't even know what to call them. What is he talking about?
It's fatigue in the brain.
All right, Barry, you're correct. It's good.
Yay!
Pop up the meme. Pop up the meme. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why I thought it was good.
Yeah,
this made me feel. This made me feel a lot like the game For Sale, which we love. It had a little bit of that when you play No Thanks, where you have that anticipation of what number is going to be coming out and the decision whether to do it. But it added that bidding and it added that economy. It was very accessible, very quick to the table. The only reason I would even say anything and move it down to a not so bad would be the fact that the components kind of stink.
Okay.
And the problem with that is it's very functional. It's an inexpensive game. You can play the thing in 30, 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. The box and the artwork is really nice, but the actual board is fine. But then you've got those little plastic translucent chips that are hard to pick up. And I know why you have to have those so you can see the number. But then you got this cheapo paper money and you're doing a lot of transferring money. But your money is private. So the benefit is that all the backs are the same so that nobody knows what you have and you can have it in front of you. You know, I'd prefer to play with chips or something, but then you'd have to have a hidden component tray, you know, that, you know, to be able to do that. So that's my only quibble with it. Great game. Game of 49, really affordable. If you like that kind of light family weight type of game, I agree with Dan King. I would go and buy it.
So you're going to bug the hell out of me now, are you?
Get it, Barry. Just get it. Don't even think about it. Just buy it. Breaking Games.
Okay.
49.
Okay. So I got 2 points there, I think. I guessed your game, and I guessed it that you liked it. Yes.
There you go. 2 points.
Okay, right. See if you can guess my game, and you too. Okay. This game came in my mailbag, and if I had read the show notes properly at the beginning of the show without my tired eyes connected, you'd know what this game is. This game is very much like a computer game, very old-style computer game. Players will be playing as heroes cooperatively, and they'll be walking into a dungeon, and they will be taking out some foes to get some experience points of a sort to upgrade their equipment and upgrade their skills to make them tougher and stronger. Because what will happen is they go through this level, and then they might decide to go back and start again, spend some of their experience, and then carry on going and restart and go back until they get to the boss. And once they fight the boss, yay, they've won the game. Do you need some more description? Anybody know online?
Ben, Ben has a guess. Ben says Rise of Tribes.
Rise of Tribes. It's that word "of" again. It's going to keep creeping up in the game, in the show. Oh no.
Yes, please.
No guesses.
No, I'm not sure. It's not the new Conan.
No. No, it's not.
Oh no, it's Dark Souls.
It is, yeah.
Oh boy.
Dark Souls, the board game. Kickstarter project, yes. Big bad boy, big and heavy.
Boy, you could bench that.
I could. Bench press. Oh, close. Gloomhaven, Massive Darkness. No, Ben, it's not them. Too late. It's Dark Souls.
So tell us about Dark Souls.
Well, Dark Souls is a dungeon crawling game for cooperative where players are going into a dungeon and fighting monsters in an old kind of old school arcade computer game way. Collecting experience points.
And now you're just reading.
Howdy ho.
I've been hearing quite a few mixed reviews about this.
Okay.
I'm going to just go out on a limb, and I'm gonna guess that you say not so bad.
I am in between not so bad and good. So I might give you that one. I'll give you that one.
No split rating here. You're not pulling a Rob Rouse. No split rating.
Okay, I'm going to say it's good because I still want to play the game. The whole concept, I've never played Dark Souls, the video game, but I have played a lot of old school 80s, 90s arcade games, and this feels very much like that. As I said, it feels like a side scroller where you're going along, you're collecting points and stuff, and then you might either die, so you reset to the reset point, or you might decide to just teleport back to your reset point and spend your souls that you've collected to upgrade yourself. And that's what the game is. It is a grind to get to the mini boss, and then you have to start again and do it to the big boss. But it doesn't go on too long. The game plays, once you know the rules, it plays quite fluidly, and it's a nice puzzle game, very much like Apocalypse Chaos, where it's a cooperative puzzle game. It is the team working out what the best actions are to do each turn. And also, when you're controlling these automatically controlled bad guys who all attack at the same time, you can, between you, decide, okay, right, we have a split decision here where this character goes. It either goes there or there. what do we think is best. And the game system is a really good, solid game system. But getting to that solid game system is a nightmare. The rule book sucks. Almost as bad as Conan. Actually, it does suck more worse than Conan rulebook. Hopefully, this is not a thing that we're going to keep seeing with Kickstarters and these big mini games. It's a case of the rulebook is all over the place. It starts with a bit of, it explains what all the components are, which is great, and then it explains a bit of the backstory. Then it starts the setup, and then it tells you something else, and then it tells you how to play your turn, and then it tells you something else, and then it tells you how the monsters move, to find references for things is a nightmare because there's not enough captions on it to tell you that this is where you need to look for movement. Everything is hidden in the text. There are a few parts that are easy to find, but there's also some contradictions in the rules. There's one section which says when you go to the bonfire, you reset your health potion, your luck, and your special power. But there's another section that says when you go to the bonfire, you have to pay a soul to reset your luck. So it's like, well, what do I do? Do I get it for free or do I have to pay for it? So, yeah, that's the bummer about the game. I'd learned how to play it. I played it solo, and it worked really well. And then I had some friends round, and we played it, and we stumbled because for some reason the rules didn't make sense all of a sudden. And then it was a case of flicking through the book back and forth, back and forth. So, yes, it is a great system. As I said, it feels like a real old-style computer game. Not a board game, but a computer game. And we quite enjoyed it. Thing is, long term, I am worried. This is where the not so bad is going to come in. It's not just the rule book. The not so bad comes in possibly in the future. This game is just the same thing over and over again with different mini bosses and big bosses. It'll probably get very, very boring. That's all I can think of at the moment.
I've heard a lot of that same thing, that it was a horde rule book, that people talking about that the production value is pretty nice as far as the miniatures. I think Ben mentioned here that it looked good. Rick has joined the house. Rick Ortloff. Hey, buddy. Yeah, he says, I really liked it, but can understand it not being other folks' cup of tea. Hey, congratulations, Rick. I heard you won a game on Robert Oren's YouTube channel. I don't know what you won because I wasn't listening, but that's kind of cool.
And you won't win anything here. We're not giving anything away.
Yes, we are. Stop it. That's a great segue because guess what? Any of you guys, look at this here. Can you see that? This is Berkey's shield.
Oh, focus.
And when we go to our Knights of Babblelot, anybody that emails me at Berkey@Board Game Theater, I will send you one of these free of charge. Berkey's Shield. It's a very powerful artifact and help you in times of dire need. Okay. Well, that's Dark Souls. Who makes that again?
What? Sorry.
Who makes Dark Souls?
Dark Souls is Steamforge. Not Steamforge.
Steamforge?
Yes, Steamforge.
Steamforge.
Steamforge Games. Steamforge Games.
Yeah, Rick, it was listed in the vlog thing. You just have to email Rob, novaprime860@gmail. Oh, that's funny. You hear it enough, right? Well, okay, I've got a game that we've been playing. This is I would say a light family weight game with probably one of the more interesting themes that I've ever seen. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen this. When I heard the name, I had visions of 1980s video games, and in particular, Nintendo Atari games that I really enjoyed. It wasn't that at all. The game. What?
Should I let you continue? Because I think I know what this game is.
If you know what it is, go ahead. Anybody else know what it is by my brief description?
Probably not. You carry on. Let's see if they can guess.
Well, it plays a little bit like checkers or like Chinese checkers, kind of. But it has special rules that you can do different kinds of moves where you can jump diagonally. Did you hear the word jump?
Mm-hmm.
Ribbit.
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 Ribbit. Ribbit. And you can kiss these things. If you kiss them, they turn into princes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. It must be, if no one's going to guess.
We got a couple guesses. It's not Sagrada. I hear that's great, though, by the way. Don says take, hack,
toe.
Donnie's got it right. Frogriders.
Yay! You've been posting pictures on Facebook, and that's what I've been looking at all week.
I figured you knew that. Here it is, Frogriders from our good friend Stephen Bonacore at Stronghold Games. I picked this up at Origins, actually. Full disclosure, this is a review copy Stephen gave me, and I was very interested in it right from the beginning, but I didn't realize what it actually was because I hadn't reviewed it much. And so I started taking a look at it. We brought it out with my wife and my daughter Gabrielle, and basically what's happening in Frogriders, you are jumping, and you've got 4 different colors of frogs. You've got these yellow frogs, blue frogs, red frogs, and brown frogs, and there are more frogs. Yeah. Trogs, blogs. It's like my tongue is falling down the stairs. So these different frogs give you different. There's some public scoring end game things, like say that we each collected a yellow frog and a brown frog, and at the end of the game, that's worth 2 points. So there's kind of a set collection type of thing going on. But there's also the blue frogs give you these extra cards, and they're called privilege cards that allow you to pick up extra points. So you might get, at the beginning of the game too, by the way, both of us are getting Cry Havoc, Frogriders. That's the expansion coming out. That's a collaboration between Portal Games, Ignacy Cevicek, and Stephen Bonacore. And it's going to be epic. I'm telling you, when you see that thing, Frogriders, I mean, they're green, but the frogs are a little bit larger. They're not the normal frogs in life. They're big, honking bullfrogs.
Yeah, they should change the title to Trog of Riders. You got to put an odd in
there. That's in another buyout. So anyway, what's happening? You're going to get 2 of these end game objectives, and you could get 2. Let's say you got that you collect the most yellow frogs. It might give you 6 points for that, or for every pair of something, you're going to get so many points. There's also these unique little lily pads that have flowers on them, so they're in bloom, and there's certain cards that if you land on them as your end move, you're going to get an extra point, and you're going to score around the board. Basically, you're jumping these frogs. Some of these privilege cards let you jump diagonally, or maybe make that little L like in chess, you know, for the knight. Just unique little things like that. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what I think, but what do you think I think about this game?
Wow, the amount of pictures that you've been posting on Facebook. I'm using this as an easy way out. And the amount of smiles that I see around the table, I think that you think this game is good.
It's good.
Yes. I'm on fire, baby. Woo-hoo.
You know, if I didn't think it was good, I'd tell you.
Yeah.
I do enjoy most games, so there's not that many games that I really hate. But on the other side of this thing, it's not what I expected. And when I read the rules and then I watched some videos and I thought, this is way simpler kids game than I thought. Mm-hmm. That was my first, just that little impression. But as we played it, it was just like, this is awesome. This is just fun. And I mean, we're trying to combo those things. And I mean, I played it with 4 different engineers from Untitled Power Company, and we're sitting there playing this game. We got done and said, let's play it again. We played it again. When we got done playing the game, we sat and talked about it for 25 minutes. So there was these thoughts. We had one problem with it, and I don't know if we have, I've probably played it about 6 or 7 times now on different player counts. But so this is almost more than a first impression. but it's been so easy to play like that. Was the blue card. There's only 14 blue frogs. And if you get a pair of blue, or if you have the 6 blue frogs, oh gosh, I'm just losing the card. It for every pair of blue frogs, I believe it's 6 points. Well, the blue frogs are the ones that allow you get those extra privilege cards. So I think the concept is that you grab a lot of these privilege cards. But if you get one person that just hogs all the blue frogs, instead of going, you can take your blue frog, put them in the village, and that allows you to get a privilege card. Then that blue frog is not in front of you. You're not collected it because you give it away. The red frogs, they let you do an extra move. The yellow frogs allow you to take one from the village. So they all have, and the brown frogs, they just clog up your stuff and you get points for brown frogs.
You invented a tongue twister. Green frogs.
Yeah, frogs. I can't say it even. Frogs. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Flogging and drogging.
And that's Stronghold Games.
Well. Anyway, my point is, it was very evocative. We just there's a lot more going on there. We had a lot of fun with it. It's quick. You know those games you play at restaurants where you move the pegs, and you're trying to be a genius and only have one left over.
Yeah, solitaire game like that.
Yeah, it feels like that because where you jump, you want to make sure that another move is going to get around to you. So that was a thought, and I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on there, and it's cool. It's produced really nicely. It's in a way too big a box than needs to be. I hate that.
Yeah,
you just got this big empty box now after you. But other than that, these frogs are cool. I don't know. I would take this anywhere and play it real quick as a quick gateway type game. And I think Steven did a great job with this game. Really good. And that's Stronghold Games. And that was a collaboration with Eggertspiele. It's designed by Asger Harding Grandrud and Daniel Peterson. So, and this art, one thing I saw too, this was crazy. Now I'm kind of, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of excited about it all of a sudden. The back of the board, you flip the game board over and there's this art that is amazing and it's printed on just the back of the game board. You didn't have to do that, but it's the coolest picture.
It's always a nice touch. It's like Stone Age as well. They have the back of the board is just the image of the board, which is really nice.
Well, for some reason I hadn't noticed that before, and I guess Great Western Trail has artwork on the back too.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's my last one. What about you?
My last one. I do. My last one. Okay. In this game, you are trading cubes for more cubes and different cubes, and you'll be doing this by drafting cards into your hand. And these cards will allow you to change cubes to other cubes. So you'll be changing from one type of cube to another type of cube. And once you've got a set collection of certain cubes, you'll be picking up another card which will have points on it because you've got the cubes that match. And you keep playing this by drawing cards and playing cards and changing cubes to get cards which got points on them to win the game.
Cubes.
It's cubes, baby. It's cubes.
I don't know if I've seen this. Is this a French game?
Possibly. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about it in the States as well. So I know that Reuven's been playing it.
Reuven. He's going to be at Dice Tower Con. Yeah, baby. I'm going to be at Dice Tower Con. It's going to be awesome.
I'm not going to be at Dice Tower.
Yeah, you could. Is it? Well, no, it's not Terraforming Mars.
No.
That has cubes.
Let's say that these cubes are spices. No,
not it's I haven't. Is it Century Spice Road?
It is Century Spice Road. Très bien, monsieur.
I'm here. I met Emerson Matsuchi at the Blue Peg Pink Peg meetup at Origins, and what a nice guy. I really like that guy. I met him about a year ago at a Dice Tower dinner, but he's really a genuinely just a great guy, and I'm hearing great things about this game. So tell us a little bit about it. I bet I already know what you think.
Yeah, you do, yeah. Okay. Well, basically, the game is it's a Splendor type game. The box comes with some nice components and a deck of cards. The components are basically these little pots of that actually sit in the actual game itself, and they're just 4 different colors of cubes, and you've got a value for each one. The yellow is the lowest value, working up to red, green, and brown. And as I said, each player will start with 2 cards in their hand. One card will let you draw 2 yellow cubes. Another card will let you augment the value of a cube. And that's all you're going to be doing. There'll be a row of cards in the middle of the table, which will be cards which have other ways of transforming or collecting cubes. And you can either draw the first one for free, or if you want like the third one, you'll have to pay 2 cubes and place them on the first 2 cards to take the third one. And then if someone wants the first one, they can take that for free and they get your cube, your spice, so to speak. And so these, as I said, these cards have ways of transforming cubes from one to another. You can either upgrade or they can just do that. And as I said, you're trying to get a set collection because there'll be another set of cards which have victory points on them, and you've got to get sets of the spices to collect those victory points. You'll play this game. You'll play 1 card each turn on your turn, so you'll transform stuff once. You can, if you wish to, recuperate all the cards that you've played and put them back in your hand. But obviously you're going to lose like a turn in transforming stuff. And it's the first person that arrives at 5 cards, victory point cards, will end the game, and then you count the points, and the player with the highest point score is the winner. So what do you think I think of this game?
Well, I'm just going on everything else I heard and about the game and the type of game that I think you like. I think it's in the weight that you like and all that too. And I'm going to say that you think it's good.
No.
What?
Yeah. Shock horror. No, it's not so bad for me. I'm a big Splendor lover. I love Splendor. You know, someone gets Splendor out, I want to play it.
Yeah, I heard this blew away Splendor.
I can't see how it blew away Splendor. It's kind of the same. It feels the same. The thing is, the engine is in your hand. It's with Splendor, the engine, you start building it from the chips that you collect and then spend. And then your engine is actually the mines that you have. Whereas in this game, the engine is the cards that you collect. And if you're playing we played a 4-player game, and it was quite nasty. Some of the players obviously played the game many times before, and there was a really powerful card out, and it was like the 4th or 5th card, and they just went immediately and spent all their cubes to get this card, and this card won them the game. So I felt the game was a bit unbalanced due to the fact that they had this card, I think, which transformed 4 times, if I remember correctly. You can correct me if you want on YouTube. But yeah, I just kind of, I was playing it and I kind of got bored because I looked at my engine halfway through the game and I thought, well, my engine sucks. I am not going to win. I am not enjoying this. And as I said, it feels too much like Splendor. I'm happy with Splendor. I don't think I'd ever replace Splendor. You know, it's like Uno. You can't replace Uno. Uno is Uno. There's not going to be another game which is going to come along and replace Uno for me. That's
but
it.
Again, this is
mic drop.
This is a first impression. You haven't played it a whole lot to see the other things that have gone on, right?
No. But again, not bad. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to play it again. I will probably play it again a few more times and see if, you know, my impressions improve or disprove it. And if someone sends me a copy, I'll review it that way. So we shall see. It's too splendory for me. And as I said, I think there's a couple of cards which are just too powerful, and when they arrive, people just snatch them up. You don't really kind of have that in Splendor. There will be some big score cards in Splendor, but the thing is, everyone's got to build up to that point to get that card, and they can do it several ways. There's many different routes that you can go to get that one card. So yeah, for me, it's okay, but not great.
Interesting. Well, very good. That's our segment. The good, the not so bad, and the ugly. We're going to move right on because we got a lot more to do. But before we move into our next segment, the Knights of Babblelot, we just want to let you know that Arcane Wonders has graciously sponsored the show, and we're really grateful for that sponsorship. They just released the game Spoils of War, and you can find this at your local retailers now or your online retailers. And we are doing a Spoils of War contest. You can go to You can go to boardgametheater.com or our Facebook page, and you can see the giveaway. We're giving away 4 copies of this game. Grand prize, 2 copies, because this game can be played with 10 players if you combine 2 games. There's a bunch of promo cards from Lance Mikester. The Lance, I think it's the sword, and Berkey's shield promo cards. We also got some special dice cups and some things like that. And you can still enter that. There's several ways to enter. You can subscribe. You have to go into the Gleam application that's on our website, but you can subscribe to our website, subscribe to the video, and the Spoils of War video is up on Board Game Theater. Lance Mikester came to our house. He shot the video with us. A super fun show. We have 4-player game. And it's quite humorous, and you will be very surprised at the ending. And then there's also some fun little bloopers at the end of the show. So you want to see a thematic gameplay in costume. You'll learn how to play the game, but hopefully you'll have a little fun watching it as well. So join us for the Spoils of War contest. Go to boardgametheater.com, and you can get in on that. And so with that, let's move on into our Knights of Babblelot.
Oh yes, look at this. This is cool.
Babble. That is cool.
Oh, that's a Google toolbox. That's better. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. I hope it's this track.
Welcome, welcome to the kingdom of Babblelot. In the castle of Babblelot sits Berkey and Badger, and they will be looking at a game that they have both played, and they will be seeing whether or not it is worthy of entering the kingdom of Babblelot. They will combine their scores, and if it reaches a 10, they have a special place at the table in the kingdom of Babblelot. Babblelot is a wonderful place where old people go to play games.
That's awesome.
I hope I'll go retire to Babblelot.
That's awesome. Very good. Very good. I'm playing with this overlay too. I can turn that on.
You know what?
They just got it back. There it is.
Yay!
There's the contest. Look at all that loot you can win.
Ooh.
Spoils of War. All right. I'm so glad they brought that back, right?
Yeah, me too. Me too. We can play again.
All right, we're going to talk and we're going to tell you a little bit about the game Spoils of War. Spoils of War has been referred to as Liar's Dice on steroids. The reason that is, it uses a Liar's Dice type of mechanism. So I don't know how many of you have played Liar's Dice, but basically in Liar's Dice, you are going to be taking dice, and let's say that we had 5 Vikings that are playing, and I'll set you up. We are all Viking warriors. And we have pillaged the village, and it was a great success, and we have a great pile of spoils of war. But how in the world will we divide them? In days gone by, we used to just knock each other off. But this became counterproductive. So now we have devised a game of skill, of cunning, and bluffing to decide who will be the greatest warrior and divide the greatest spoils. So the game of chance, spoils of war, we're rolling these dice. If we had 5 Vikings, we're each going to get 6 dice. So there are 30 dice on the pillage the village. you wascally wabbit, you Ben.
Wascally wabbit.
So we've pillaged. We're gonna have 30 dice on the table. Basically, what's happening there? All the Vikings are going to bet how many dice they think are on the table. So let's say I bid 4 6s. You always have to go up 1 pip on the die at the level of dice, or go up the next level of dice. So if I said 4 6s, I'd have to go up to 5 1s or 5 2s, 5 3s, and so on. And then you can jump the bid and go forward. There's a variant rule which allows you that you can only go up 1 level of dice at a time, and that's a fun way to play as well. So we're all going to roll our dice. We're going to start bidding. Then what we're going to do is we are going to bet. And we're going to bet depending on how well, eventually one person is going to say, there are not 7 5s on the table. And they're going to challenge. So the person who said 7 5s becomes the declarer. Everybody else then must decide which side they're going to go with, the declarer at 7 5s or the challenger. And we're going to all bet. The winning bet, say that there were 7 5s, that means all declaring Vikings would win. And we're going to have this pile of spoils. I'll show you a couple of the cards that are out on the table here. This here, for instance, this is a little, I know this is not good for radio, but this is a weapon.
That's not good for video either. They're sleeved.
No, it's kind of bad, isn't it? Dragon's eggs. I prefer my dragon's eggs hard boiled.
Oh.
This here is a helmet as a armor.
I like my helmets.
Jewelry. So we have these 4 different kinds of sets. I'll explain that in a second. But basically what's happening, the winning Vikings, whoever has the highest bid, the highest bet, excuse me, of the winning team is going to collect 3 of these spoils. The losing team, all the money that they bet, they lose that and it goes away. You start with 70 coins each. And at the end of the game, that 70 coins is also points. But then there's this awesome little set collection that happens. If you get a partial set, which means you've collected 3 of the unique of each category. There's the 4 categories and there's 4 kinds in each one. If you collect 4 of them, you're going to get 12 points. If you collect a partial set, 3 of them, you're going to get 6 points. But what's really super cool about the game is these artifact cards. Berkey's Shield is an artifact. This protects you from a Viking stealing or trying to trade one of your spoils. It's an awesome, powerful artifact. And it's a reoccurring artifact. You'll notice that there's a little gold number in the bottom. This here, it's worth 2 gold at the end of the game. So if you collected 1 of each of these sets and an artifact, you get what's called a Conqueror's Hoard, which gives you an extra 8 gold. So you're going to play over 9 rounds. We have 3 sets of level 1 cards, 3 sets of level 2, and 3 sets of level 3. And they are going to ramp up at each level. So it gets better and better and better. You go to the 2nd round, the artifacts are a little more powerful. They're worth more money. At the 3rd round, they're really good for end game scoring. At the end of that game, everybody is at the 9th round. Everybody's going to add up their sets. They're going to add up their remaining money, and they're going to add up the gold on their cards. And we are going to compare to see who was the most glorious warrior. And that, in a nutshell, is Spoils of War.
Ta-da! Coughing fit. He's having a coughing fit. Oh my, Berkey, you're having a coughing fit, old man. Oh, oh. I sound like Archmage Pycelle. But anyhow, Anyhow, let's talk about this game. Okay. We've played it. Well, you've played it bucket loads of times. And I've played it a few times. And we'll start with the components, I think.
Good question. I have them all right in front of me here, too, if you want me to show them off.
Oh, you can show them off. I don't mind. I might make some components up and see if you can show them off as well.
These are the dice cups that come with it. Really nice little engraved type of, engraved isn't the right word, embossed.
Yeah.
They hold your dice.
Mm-hmm. They're very nice. Again, not very good podcast.
No, you can't see them too well, but we'll post some pictures. If you go to boardgametheater.com, you'll see all kinds of pictures of us playing. It comes with the player shield. Some beautiful artwork there you can see. Mm-hmm. And then your game rounds are clearly identified each round. We roll the dice, we bid, then we place our bets, then we reveal our bets, and then we reveal our dice, and then we divide the spoils. You see clearly there the 6 points for a partial set, 12 for a full, and the Conqueror's Horde. We have this lovely first player, the chieftain marker, whoever is the winning chieftain. All right, go ahead.
I thought you were going to show like each of the coins individually. This is a number 1. This is another number 1.
Okay, these are the coins that come with it.
Yeah,
pretty heavy duty cardboard.
And of course, you've got these 3 decks of cards, the 3 levels. And all the artwork is really, really great. Fantastic artwork on the cards. And as you say, on the shields and everything. I found the components pretty good. The insert, it's not very practical. My coins are always all over the place, so it means setting up the game is a bit awkward. But the cards stay in their spaces, which is great. And the pots obviously stay in their spaces. So the insert's not too bad. It's pretty good. Obviously, I might have to invest in some bags to put the coins in. It might be a bit easier to carry them like that.
It's kind of like the Sheriff of Nottingham insert, too. You know, it's functional for everything, but the coins always fall out of there because there's no cover to the insert. So I agree with that totally.
Yeah. I found the dice a tad too small. Again, I played on quite small tables. So the space was a premium, but even with the small dice, I was finding myself, you know, they were going everywhere still. And I think chunky dice would have been a great asset into the game. Sorry, put them up again.
Here's the actual die.
Yeah, they're about what, 8mm.
Yeah, I think they're actually a little bit smaller because they are definitely a little smaller, but it makes them a little easier to roll in the cup. The cup is pretty good size, but it's not super deep. So if you had like regular, these are the 12 mil, right?
Yeah, something like that.
You know, if I had 6 of these in here, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, they wouldn't all roll without stacking on top of each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of that I think has to do with the size of the cup and the size of the box you'd need to accommodate a larger die. Yeah.
Again, so for me, the dice were a tad too small, and also the screens. I kept finding players kept knocking their screens over while we were playing. They're very good. They're very nice. They got all the information that you need perfectly on them. But as I said, every now and again, you'd knock your screen over, all your coins would have protrude from the other side. They're just little niggles like that I found with the components. But apart from that, everything's functional. Everything's good. And as Kevin said, this is kind of liar's dice, which here in France is called perdu. And lots of people that I played with said, this is perdu. And it's like, yeah, it is. But components-wise, pretty good.
Yeah, I think we can talk about rule book in a few moments too here because I'm showing you one of them. I kind of felt like too, you know, I've gotten to where even these coins, these are just the same type of quality of the Sheriff of Nottingham. It's really good cardboard. It's very functional. But I've gotten so used to playing with great coins, so I've tricked out the set here. I've got nice, cool metal coins.
Yeah,
and my friend and owner of the company, Brian Pope, he gave me some of these leather cups, which are like unbelievably crazy awesome. We were demoing the game with these, and when the prototype first came out, and he gave me a couple of these, so these are awesome. I think the art assets are unbelievable. I think that's one thing that Arcane Wonders does. And if you see their games, they do not skimp on art assets. And that's usually one of their biggest costs in their games, just knowing that from an insider's perspective. That's very important to them. I agree with you. I thought the insert was so-so. There's been some, if I'm being honest, there's a little bit of imperfections in some of the dice. I've noticed it on just a couple of them, and I've heard a couple of people say that. I don't know if I think it was in their first run that they just had a little bit that were slightly off. If you ever have a problem with that, Arcane Wonders is like fantastic. They will be on it like immediately, and they take care of these things. But I think that's a good point. If they could have enlarged the cup size just a little bit and had a little bit bigger dice, I think that would have been good. But part of that, like Ben mentioned, part of it is to keep them hidden behind the screens. And this game really needs that privacy screen, or else you have to have a game topper that you have a hidden component tray down below to hide all your goodies. Yeah. Oh, that was a shameless plug.
Should we go to the rule book?
The rule book. You know me, I don't like to read rules. I just want to watch a video.
Yeah, but I've been waiting for your video to come out, and it hasn't come out yet. But now it's out. But
now the video's out.
Yes, the rule book is very, very good. I read it you just need to read it once, and you understand the game. Again, if you have a question about it, everything is neatly barred up, so you can go, okay, so how many dice is it each player get at the beginning of the game? And it's like, oh, it's there. And how much money? Oh, actually, that could have been highlighted a bit better. The money section where it says you get 7 5s and 3 10s and whatever. I had trouble, I'd read it, and then I was like, start sorting the coins out, and then I'd forget, and it's like, wait a minute. So yeah, but apart from that, the rule book is excellent. The back page got all the information that you need, and it's an ambient game. It's a game ambience. That's a French word, but it's a party game, so it generates an ambience. So I'd give top notch for the rule book. Very, very well done. Simple, clear, precise. Lots of examples. No problems.
The graphic design of that art, I mean, it's a work of art just in itself because of the way they utilize the art assets. And like you just said, everything is broken down into these great little charts so that it's quick and easy to find different player counts. And the examples are clear. They're using a lot of pictures. It's several pages, but it's not like it's that much content. No. But because they spent the extra money doing that so that the layout is so easy and interesting to read. I was really impressed with this particular art book. Yeah. Rule book. Yeah. So overall, I think likewise, I think the production is pretty decent. It's not like it has miniatures or anything like that, but everything they've done has been good. The card art is good. The card quality is good. All that type of thing. So what do you think about gameplay, Barry?
The gameplay reminds me very much of Sheriff of Nottingham. And the great advantage of this game over Sheriff of Nottingham is that people don't have to role play. But they have to roll the dice, but they don't have to role play. In Sheriff of Nottingham, you've got to amp it up to have fun. You've got to say, oh, I've been to the highest forests of mountains very far away to collect 3 cheeses. Sheriff, can I pass, please?
What are you referring to? What kind of Viking are you that you don't need to role play?
Yeah, but with this game, you don't need to role play. We never role played in all the games that we played. It was just a case of everybody, okay, so shake the dice phase. Boom. Okay, you start. And then players would start bidding, and then there'd be a challenge, and then it'd be a resolve, and then it'd be take the treasure. But the game works like that. Sheriff of Nottingham, you need the role playing to make the game work. Because if you just go, okay, I've got 3 cheeses. Oh, I've got 4. bread. Oh, I've got 6 chickens. Okay, I'll open your bag. Okay, I lost. And it's flat, boring rubbish. But in this game, you don't, as I said, you don't need the role play. The game starts developing as soon as players start getting artifacts and start being nasty to each other. Unfortunately, I didn't see a lot of that going on because I'm in France, and some people had trouble translating the English, and so they were scared to use powers sometimes. So yeah, but the powers did work. The powers were very interesting. The slight ones, like you can change the number of a dice, or the one where you can re-roll some of your dice, or the one where you can look at someone else's cup and see what dice they got, or the one where you can steal someone's treasure. Or there were so many different powers, and because you've got so many different cards in each of the 3 stages of the game, and you're only using X amount of them and not all of them, it does have a nice bit of variety. The last game we played, we didn't have many artifacts in the 3rd era, level, whatever you want to call it.
Yep, 3rd round. Yep.
And so it was mainly treasure. And so I'd used up all my artifacts powers, and most of the other players didn't have any powers. And it was like, okay, it's just a treasure hunt. And it was like, yay, treasure!
Yeah, the level 3 artifacts are really powerful because some of them are more end game scoring ish. They allow you to like look through the discard pile, the spoils that didn't get divided. You can look through those, which will help you complete a set, which could possibly give you an additional 6 or more points. So there's also some that are protective, where like you have talismans, which allow you to cancel somebody else's effect. And one of the talismans is actually pretty powerful because it puts a cancel on it, so you can no longer use that particular one. And then there's some of these artifacts like the chalice, the golden chalice, that allows you to change one of your die, or the dragon's tooth, like you mentioned, that allows you to reshake a couple dice. Now, our good friend Jesse Shaky is here. He just joined in, and he just mentioned that I don't think that the hiding of the dice was very crucial at the reveals because the cups worked fine. And he said, I love this game. This was my surprise game. Hey, Ron, good to see you, buddy. Ron Shady is here as well.
The real Ron Shady.
Well, yes, we've already been talking about Ron and Frogriders. Frogriders of the North.
I hope you're not insulting his wife.
Oh, boy. So, all right, more Diet Coke.
Sorry, Ron.
So, yeah, he. I don't think he thought that was funny. You just called him a trog. No, Ron, you're going to be at Dice Tower Con. Everybody's laughing, but they don't. They're embarrassed that they're laughing.
He's lucky I am in France. Oh, I'm frog riding, so it doesn't matter.
All right, so
where were we?
I don't even remember anymore.
Gameplay.
I think one of the things about these artifacts that I hadn't seen this. I've played this a lot of times, but there's this one artifact that allows you to re-roll extra during the reveal bet stage. You can re-roll 6 die. In the 10-player game. One thing that is very interesting about gameplay, the player count is from 3 to 5 players for the base game. But you can take 2 of these games and combine them and play up to 10 players. It's brilliant. There's even a way with one box you can kind of play 6 players. I don't think it's very balanced to do it that way because there's not enough cards, but 2 boxes together, this is awesome. When we were at the Gamma Trade Show in Las Vegas, the first night we just played the 5-player. We had this big round table and we had 2 games of 5 going, and it was great. People loved it. But then on Wednesday night, we got there and 7 people were sitting there. And so we said, well, we'll just play a quick game with all of us. So we put both together, started playing like the rules let us. People were loving it, and it got louder and louder. Sam Healy was over there, and him and Brian Pope, the owner, I mean, they're getting after it. And I mean, this is the highlight of the Gamma Trade Show. There's this huge room, all these tables, and this one is the highlight. And people just kept flooding in, and all night long we did those big, epic 10-player games. And what a hoot. We went from 6 o'clock midnight or 6 o'clock till midnight doing that. Well, this is what we did at the Fergus Falls Public Library. This artifact where you get to roll 6 dice. It happened like all we needed was one more to win the bid. And so he pulls out his artifact. Nobody could cancel it. He rolls the dice. The anticipation is building. Boom. He hits a 6, and we end up winning that one. Well, then, this was really cool. Jeremy was playing with us. We're later in the game. He's playing. We need 2 of, I think it was 4s, if I remember right, to win the bid. And what he does is he plays this talisman that allows you to copy somebody else's talisman that was played, or artifact that was played. And so he goes, I'm copying that card that does the 6 dice. And he rolls, and we're all like, come on, this is really big. And we didn't get our 4s. But it was awesome. I mean, just that anticipation, and that everybody was standing, and you have those moments, this social interaction, kind of like Sheriff of Nottingham moment, where everyone's exciting and it's anticipatory and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the game comes down to basically not being lucky with your bribes and your bets and your bluffing, but also in your set collection, because that's where the points are basically. Again, the last game that we played, one guy had everything, practically every single card. So he had combo. He got over 180 points in total.
His name is Jesse Shaky.
He does the same, does he?
Oh, he's a bum. I tell you, that guy is good at that game.
Yeah, so again, a little frustrating thing is if you're not lucky enough to bid on the right thing at the right time, you're going to find yourself with maybe just a handful of treasures while someone else might have bucket loads, and that might demoralize a few players, especially younger players, because again, I played with kids as well as adults. So that's, you know, touchy kind of thing for some of the young ones.
Yeah, I think you're right. If they don't understand that bidding process and who to go with, you know, that's a little bit of a little bit more mature gameplay thing, and because you are kind of analyzing what people are doing, and especially if you bid too much and then lose that, or if you lose 3 or 4 in a row, that can really be a little bit difficult. And I think that's just the nature of this game. So you get better at that. For instance, Kai is one of the game players. He had played at our home one time, and then he was with us last night. The first game, he got just trounced on because he just didn't win the bids right off the bat. One of the things I will say about that, though, is the level 2 cards get better. So instead of them only being worth 1 or 2 or 3, they're worth 4, 5, and 6. And then the third ones are all the way up to 8. So there's a way for you to get back in the game pretty quickly, even if you lose some. But, you know, you can't lose all 9 rounds and expect to win, right?
No.
Hey, do you want to hear something funny? There is a rule in the game called the Berkey rule.
Go on.
Well, the Berkey rule came about when we were at BGG Con, and the game was just in prototype stage at that point. They had gone through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of iterations of playtesting. It's been in development for almost 2 years. Long and short of that, we are there with the Brawling Brothers, Brandon and Josh, and we're out at the Straight 8 barbecue with Brian Pope and Jason Medina, the designers of the game. And we're having fun, and we're eating, and we're playing the game. Well, I had 3 of these rounds where I bid very aggressively. You only start with $70, and I bid like 20 and 21 and 25, something like that. And I lost all 3 of them. So I bid like crazy aggressive, especially in the early rounds, is not a great idea, because if you win, you get to keep your money, so it's fine. But if you lose that money. That's end game scoring, and also your ability to have the highest bid. Well, long and short of it, I ended up losing all of my money. And at that point in the gameplay, you could actually trade cards in to get money back. You always have to have a minimum bid of 5 coins. Well, I couldn't do that. And Brian Pope and Jason Medina, they both looked at each other and went, "This has never happened before."
You broke my game.
I broke it, and Josh and him, they're laughing, and it was just this really funny moment. But I'm like, "Oh crap, this is not good," and because I had some really good sets in front of me, but I had 3 bad in a row. Long and short of it, the rule now states if you run out of your money, you're still in the game. You don't have to have the minimum 5 bet, but you can never be the chieftain and get 3 spoils, and you always pick last. So if you're on the winning side, you get 2 spoils. That will allow you to continue to complete your sets and still be in the game. And so that's the purpose of play testing and finding out some of those kind of things. And now I have a rule because that's the way we roll here.
Oh dear.
Well, tell me what your pros about the game are, Barry.
Pros about the game are it's easy to get into. It resembles Perdu or Liar's Dice, as you say. Perdu is very, very popular in France, so everyone knows what Perdu is. So that they getting to play this game is quite easy. The art, the cards, simple powers. Interesting set collection and different ways to score points. All of those kind of things really make this game, stand out and are interesting. Larger player counts are better than smaller player counts, so there's a con there. Playing 3 players is bleh, but playing 4 players is okay. 5 players would be better, sorry. But I feel that out of the box, it should be a 6-player game. It's when you buy Perdu here, it's 6 players. I don't know what Liar's Dice is, 6 players out of the box or 5 players out of the box, but it should be 6 players because 5 just feels just about right. But I think 6 players it would shine. And obviously you played 10 players, so it's enjoyable. It doesn't drag on too long. It's 9 rounds. And they seem to go pretty quick once people get into the flow of things. You easily play this game in under an hour. Yeah,
I'd agree.
And as I said, no role playing, which is a plus. It's just a case of bluffing.
Yeah, I think I agree totally with every pro that you just said there. And I would maybe just add that there's a really nice high level of social interaction. And I think Arcane Wonders likes to focus on that type of game where people are involved. That's one of Brian's favorite type of games. I know that. And so it creates that environment, and it's not so crazy thinky that, I mean, this is a nice pub type of game where you can pop it out. It takes a little bit of a footprint, when you've got all your spoils in front of you. I mean, we had my game topper. It was the inside vault was 38 inches by 60 inches, and we were able to play all 10 players just fine on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that maybe what they need is dividers, because once you've sorted out your 9 piles of cards, you got to space them out on the table, and that takes up space as well. I think it'd be best if they had dividers, so you can make a stack of all the treasure cards, and then each level you can put them out, and then you see a divider and you go, that goes back in the box.
Well, they have
space.
There's a system. You always have 2 times the amount of players, and then you add 1 card. So if there's 4 players, that times 2 gives us 8 cards plus 1 is 9. And you can put all the level 1s in one deck, and all the level 2s in a deck, and all the level 3s in a deck, and then just count out 9 cards real quick.
Okay. Yeah, that's logical as well.
It doesn't show it that way in the rules because it shows you laying them all out. Because I agree with you, it takes up too much space.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can see how many rounds there are left to go. Because I think some people were getting some of the players that I played with were getting a bit bored, and they'd be like, "Oh, how many rounds? Oh, it's 2 rounds. That's okay. Then I'll carry on going."
Yeah, you bet. Well, as far as cons, what did you have for con?
Dice size, as I said, shields are a bit small and they keep falling down. Obviously, bigger cups, bigger dice would have been good. Apart from that, there's not really much. No, No, I can't think of any cons. Playing with French people is a con.
We had all kinds of cons at our table.
Yeah,
They were conning all of us to believe that they had 12 threes.
Yeah, and as I said, I think maybe it should have been 6-player out of the box, personally.
Yeah, there's actually a way that you can do that. You just, I don't know that it's as balanced as you would like with the artifacts and the set collection. And because if you were just to scale back the amount of cards slightly, you could actually make it happen. But honestly, I think that's the beauty. This is an affordable game. You're seeing it. The retail is $39.99, so you can get this online. Some of your online discounters around. I saw Amazon had it for $32, and Cool Stuff I think had it around that price. So it's not that expensive, and you can add 2 of them and have this really big party game. There's not that many games that I feel fit really great like this kind of social interaction. Sheriff of Nottingham is one, and I love Sheriff of Nottingham. My only con, I guess, is maybe has to do a little bit with Liar's Dice.
Right.
And the reason I say that is it seems like it takes people a little bit to catch on to that mechanism just slightly. Of how you always have to go up either 1 pip on the set of current declared die or move up a die. And sometimes it took people a little while to catch on to that. And in regular's Liar's Dice, if you lose a bet, you actually remove dice from the game.
Yeah.
Some people really like that. Other people, to me, I think it simplifies the gameplay to keep it consistent. There's some artifacts like it's the Crow card, the Murden card that actually adds a die. So instead of having 30 dice on the table, you'd have 31 on the table. So there is some slight variability there for probability, but I honestly don't like to try to have to think that hard and try to, math it out to make my choice.
Yeah.
But some people do like that.
But there's enough on the table. I mean, because you're mathing out the probability of the dice, and then you're also mathing out the possibility that they've got 6 artifacts. Maybe they're going to use one of those to do something, and they're betting against me. Am I going to back them up? And then you've got the probability of how much money should I invest into this bet. And because again, your money at the end of the game is included in your final score. So there's all these little things that have got to be balanced on top of this one kind of like luck factor of guessing how many dice are at the table, but at the same time gauging what the other players are saying and how they're saying it to get an air of what you think there are dice-wise.
Well, the more I play it, and especially when you're playing it with more experienced people, all of a sudden that's where you start to really get into this bluffing thing, because you might just start out and say, I have 4 6s. And you might not have any 6s, but other people will believe that you do. And that's the fun of role-playing. That's the only thing I disagree maybe a little. I know what you're saying.
That's bluffing. It's not role-playing, I think.
Well, no, let me finish. You're role-playing. You don't have to do it to play this game, obviously. But by engaging with that type of thing, all the Vikings, I would get into Viking character and start kind of using that Viking analogies to egg them on to, only the greatest Viking warriors have 6s in their hand. I bid 4 6s. But I can be totally full of it. But by adding a little bit of that flavor, I think adds to the excitement. So I agree with you, but I think role-playing with it is really fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find it hard to role-play with my French group. So,
yeah.
And children as well. So,
well, I think that the bluffing aspect of the game, as you play it more and have more people and know when these artifacts and whether or not they have that artifact, all of a sudden the game gets really intriguing. And so I think that adds a lot of value to the experience that you have with Spoils of War. I think with that, I think we can pretty much go on to our ratings here. Is there anything else you wanted to cover about this, Barry?
No, not really. No. Let's get on to the ratings.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. We're going to give it a mark out of 5. each, and then we'll add these marks together. A 5, if we give a 5, that means that it's an absolute love. We must own this game and play it whenever possible. If we give it a 4, it's very good. We want it in our collection, and we wouldn't mind playing it numerous times. Numerous. A 3 is it's a good game. I'll play it occasionally, but it's not a must-have. 2 is some problems with it. Not excited to play it and wouldn't own it. And number 1 is it's a hate it. Put it in the parapet, burn it at the stake with all the other victims of our raids.
So all you guys on the guild, you're here. What do you think? What do you think Berkey's going to say? And what do you think Barry's going to say? Badger. You've heard us talk about the game, Badger, and Berkey.
It's written there.
Yes, I know. It's not Kevin and Barry. Jesse says a 4.5. He's doing a split rating.
Yeah, you've been doing those in the past, so I think he's figured you out.
Well, you're right.
You out, boy.
Yeah. Knock. So, you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first then.
All right.
3.5. It's a good game. It's as I said, I've been playing it with the French groups, and the kind of feedback I get is not the feedback that I get when I play Sheriff of Nottingham. The game works. The game's got some really interesting ideas, and it feels really like a fun ambience. But I haven't probably been playing it with the right people. Again, it has the same kind of vibe as Sheriff, and Sheriff shines a lot more brighter, even though you have to force the role play to make the game fun. And that's what's great about Sheriff, is being really, really stupid and making up a story about your bread or your spice or whatever. In this, there's no reason to role play, and it was just a case of the players that I played with said, "Oh, it's Peridou," and they rolled their dice and they said, "All right, that's it, and you're the liar, and there you go, money. I get this treasure, and you get that treasure." And so the game's felt flat. So I think that's kind of impacted on me a bit as well. So yeah, it's a good game. But as I said, I prefer Sheriff. Sheriff is just.
So what is your rating?
It's in between a 3 and a 4, which would be a 3.94762.
Well, 3 is a good game. We'll play occasionally. Not a must-have.
Yeah.
4 is very good. Want in the collection. Love to play numerous times. Just not a 5.
Yeah, I think it's more 3, because I'd rather have Sheriff sat on my shelf.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be very similar, because I struggled with this one just a little bit. Kabuki Kid is in the house. Yeah, Kabuki Kid is in the house.
In my life. Oh, Kabuki.
I've been kind of missing her. You know, I catch her every now in the Rob Oren chat, but you know, it's life is busy, and that's the way it goes. Glad to have you back there, Kabuki Kid.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting for me, because obviously you all know that I do a lot of work with Arcane Wonders. They're a sponsor of our show. I love this company. I love the commitment they have to the games. I become endeared to the company, but also the games, and it's an honest endearment. But I have to realize that
you're gonna say one on you.
my objectivity is probably skewed, and so I realize that I'm not numb to that fact that I could be influenced. But on the other hand, I'm giving you my honest feelings. I've really loved this game. We've had a lot of fun with it. I've had so many great moments. I'm gonna have to say, just like Barry said, if I were to choose between Spoils of War and Sheriff of Nottingham, well, I'd like to play Sheriff of Nottingham, because there is something just slightly different about Nottingham that does what you're saying. Now, I love to role play, so this Viking thing has been really great. And the people that experience that with me, where we got them into that, I think that's a highlight. So that's a big win for me. the experiences with people. When we were at Origins, man, this gal came up to Missy, I believe is her name, and she brought her mom. So we had this grandma playing with us, and she works in the toy lobby industry, and this grandma just loved it, and she's getting into this Viking shield warrior, shield maiden character, and we took pictures, and it was this highlight. And this father came in with his son, and he was playing, and I gave the promo card to the son, and he's just beaming from ear to ear. And we had one after another of these just amazing play experiences. So, but that had to do a little bit with character and theme, because I'm in a costume and all that. And so, you know, basically when you're rating a game, you're really talking about fun factor, right?
Yeah.
I've always had fun playing this game. It's not as good as Sheriff of Nottingham to me. 4.5 is what I want to say. But honestly, I'd probably say 4. Because I don't know. I play this anytime anybody ever wanted to do it. If I have to say, is it absolute love? Well, the experiences I've had, I've absolutely loved. But Sheriff of Nottingham, I absolutely love that game. So I'm like you, you know, you're giving it a high 3, and I'm giving it a high 4.
Yay! So in total,
it's going to get a 7.
Yay! Which is inside the marketplace of Babblelot, which is where we're going now, isn't it?
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
That's a pretty high score for our scoring system. We have 10 is a seat at the round table of Babblelot. A 9 is the entrance of the royal ball. An 8 is in the royal gardens. And the marketplace is a 7. And 6 is just outside the walls. And 5 is in the village. And 4, 3, and 2, they're not really even on the map, but there you go. So that's Spoils of War, designed by Brian Pope and Jason Medina of our friends at Arcane Wonders. It's available in retail now at $39.95. You can combine this game, 2 games, to actually make it a 10-player party game as well. And we give it a combined score of 7. So we're going to move right on next to the Babble topic.
All right.
Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's board game babble.
Hey.
Okay, well, we're in the village of Babblelot right now, and we're mingling with the public here in Babblelot Square. And some of them have been asking us questions about demoing, haven't they? Where is my face? Yes.
Never give a couple monkeys a keyboard.
No, or board game.
Or a podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, did somebody give us a podcast anyway?
We took it. We took it by force.
By force. And we divided the spoils of war. Berkey's spoils and Badger's spoils.
Well, this raven came from Winterfell. And,
from Winterfell.
And often we babble about conventions and festivals on the show. And if you're a regular listener, it may sound like we're going a bit back and forth with the same thing. But truth be told, we haven't. Well, I'm word blind here. Okay.
Well, we've been to a lot of festivals, and people talk about conventions and what to do at them, what not to do, kind of your how-to, if you will. But we wanted to come at this at just a little bit of different angle. We want to talk about a couple of the recent conventions that we went to, and you know, it's convention season, so this is an interesting topic. Not everybody can go, so you can kind of glean some information, that type of thing. But Barry, you've recently been to a couple big conventions, and then we're going to talk about demoing and working at conventions and some of the pros and cons of that. But tell us a little bit about some of the conventions that you've recently been to.
Okay, I've only been recently to the UK Gaming Expo. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to Paris Ludique, which was in Paris this past weekend, which was a very probably the biggest event. Excuse me, probably the biggest event in France. where all the publishers from France and a few from Belgium. I think there was some. No, there wasn't any. Anyone else? Excuse me. They all got together outside in the Pelouse de Riley, and they demoed their games. And obviously there was lots of people and lots of sun because it was nice, sunny. It's just the end of the heat wave that we just had here in France. So yeah, I missed out on that one, but I did go to rainy England in Birmingham at the UK Gaming Expo, and I didn't play squat.
You just played one squat.
Yes, every night between 6:30 and no, but yeah, yes, it's Mini Essen. UK
Gaming Expo, you describe as Mini Essen?
Mini Essen. It's kind of same vibe, same kind of stands, the same kind of, you know, you've got your big players in certain sections, and then you've got the small players on the outskirts, and then the dice tower is somewhere in the middle somewhere.
How many people were at this year's UK Gaming Expo?
Oh, you make me want to do research now. How many people were at? Right, let's do a Google search. How? I've got my right glasses. This is not my writing glasses. This is my reading glasses. How many?
You look pretty snazzy. Really snazzy.
Attendance. Where's the autocorrect here? At UK Gaming.
Oh boy. Just tell me how many people were there.
Oh, I've just clicked on the wrong thing. I've gone to. Ooh, what's she doing?
I heard that it.
Ooh, wrong thing.
I heard that it was a little bit smaller than Origins Game Fair.
Possibly, never been there.
And I think Origins had about 17,000 people this year, is what I'm told.
At UK. There's nothing here. Nothing on their side.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Ben says 25,000. Wow. That's a big number. Did it feel crowded?
No. At my booth, it did. I was very crowded at my booth.
And you were demoing the new Batman game, right?
Yes, I was. And it was non-stop. Non-stop. It was incredible. Never done it before.
Was that Monolith?
That's Monolith, yeah. So, yeah, it was non-stop. People were just coming to the table. It wasn't just, you know, gamers. There were young kids there, and they were like, oh, it's Batman. I want to play Batman. And my first reserve was, oh, my God, he's too young. There was a kid of 7. And it was like, okay, is this going to be wise to teach him this game? But luckily, he picked it up like a duck. Water off a duck's back. That's the expression. Forgetting my English expressions. And yeah, he did an amazing thing. He played Batman, and it wasn't to the last round that he took out Bane and actually disarmed the last bomb, all in the same turn. It was crazy. And his dad was playing the Overlord, the bad guy. So
is that a cooperative?
It's semi-cooperative. So you have 3 players playing as heroes. There's Batman, Catwoman, and the Red Hood. Before you complain about Red Hood, it's the Dick Grayson Red Hood, not the Joker Red Hood.
Okay. Ben says that there were 12,500 unique visitors and 25,000 over 3 days. So that's like a turnstile number. So that's a fair amount of people, though. So it's a little bit smaller than the Origins Game Fair. Excuse me. The Origins Game Fair that I just recently is in Columbus, Ohio. And like I said, I think that's about 17,000 unique. A good portion of the vendors in the industry show up. It's kind of like the beginning of the convention season. So I don't know exactly how many vendors were there, but I would venture to say that there may have been 100, 80 to 100 vendors. So a lot of your main vendors are there. Stephen Bonacor has a booth, Mayday Games, Yellow, Cool Mini or Not had a huge wall, and they had the big play spot. Mayfair Games, Upper Deck, a lot of the publishers, Portal Games, had a really nice deck. Their Capstone Games.
Mm-hmm. When you said
Renegade
vendors,
Game Studios.
When you said vendors, I thought of shops that sell their games at these events, but you're actually talking about the actual publishers themselves.
I'm probably thinking in terms of booths. So vendors meaning publishers and or accessory companies. You know, Dogmite Games was there, and they make these amazing components where they have an adventure chest that's amazing. They have deck boxes, and now they have this component collection that sorts out all your little bits and bobs, like you would say, Barry.
Yeah.
And those kind of things. And so most of the publishers that we know and love were there. Obviously not Gen Con. You know, Gen Con has like 700, I think, publishers. So it's nowhere near as big as that, but a good oversection. And there are some of the new games being offered, like Spoils of War, for instance, was just launched. And so that became available to retail. But there's still a lot of much anticipated games going to Gen Con. So I think Origins is kind of like that precursor to that. So we had a great time at Origins. I demoed at the tables from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon.
Lucky you.
Now, I generally didn't get up, you know, until about 7:30 because we didn't get to bed till midnight. A couple nights it was just slightly later than that. But, you know, you sleep for about 6 to 7 hours and then you get up. It takes you a while to get going. You run down there. And I didn't even eat dinner or breakfast because I was getting ready. It takes a while to get in the costume and everything.
Oh, dearie me. That's very essential. Tip number 1, always eat a big breakfast before doing an event like this. You need that.
Yeah, but I can kind of live on storage for a couple months, you know?
No comment.
Yes, I'm a beautifully plump individual.
Whereas I would wake up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning from my hotel bed and roll over in pain from my bad back injury and watch the BBC News. Unfortunately, there was like a terrorist attack in London at the same time, so that was clogging up most of my time.
That was horrible.
But yeah, at 6, 7 o'clock, I'd get up and get washed and dressed, and then go and have a nice big breakfast, a bowl of cereal, some croissants, some chocolate, some toast, an egg, bacon, sausage, and shovel it all down with my buddy, my co-worker Flavian. How you doing, bud?
So you went out and had a lot of enjoyable meals and were able to spend time with people?
No.
No? No,
not at all. It was basically a case of going back to the hotel every night. There was a night I was supposed to hang out with Paul Grogan. As I said, he was busy at his booth. I was having a walk around and he was busy. And
he's a demoing machine.
He's a demoing machine. I went over to him and he was demoing this game called was it Age of Empires or something like that, and he said, yeah, we're just doing a quick light game here. And I was like, oh right, this is a light game. And he was just explaining it, and this
like Through the Ages.
Yeah, Through the Ages. Yeah, and they had all their like crystal cubes laid out on their charts. And I said, oh, I picked one up from this guy's board, and he goes, oh look, they are lights in them, isn't there? They're lights. And I put it back down on this guy's board. Little did I know, it wasn't until I had a good look that all his cubes were perfectly in line, and I put this cube back out of line by about 3 millimeters. The look on his face was incredible. Oh my God. And
don't follow the lights.
So yeah, I was supposed to meet Paul. I said, I'll see you at the end of the show, Paul. And so at the end of the show, 6 o'clock, everyone got chucked out, and I was like, packed away the game quickly. At 6:05, I was at the CGE booth, and I was like, where the fudge is he? He's not there. Nobody's there. I'm like, what happened? He'd already gone. So I didn't get the address of the hotel that he was staying at and where he was having his gaming rules evening. So I missed out on that, and I missed out on playing with Dan Hughes and Luke Hector and John Perkis. So yeah,
We had I played some games later in the evening. Overall, I was mostly just demoing spoils. I did play a new game by Jim Feely called Bemused, which you're all these muses, and they're different ones, and you're trying to cast doubt on these muses. Interesting little deduction and kind of take that thing, but it was beautifully designed, really amazingly evocative artwork. If you get a chance to look at Bemused, I think you might, that was really cool. I got to play that with Scott Brady from Sam's Reviews and his wife, Nicole, David Lowry, and Jason Elliott. And that was a lot of fun. I got to play a game of baseball, Highlights 2045, our first mention of the show. Little Dukes of Dice reference there. With David Lowry one night at midnight. And so that was really fun, and he really loved the game. So that was kind of cool. But overall, it was hanging out with people that was so memorable. The first night that we get to Origins, I meet up with my real close good friends. I love these people with all my heart, is Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Rob and Christina, his wife. Rob's wife is Christina, and Christina's wife is Rob. And and then Patrick.
Facepalm.
And so they get into town, and I had these tickets from last year when we went to Kingmakers. Kingmakers is this cool little game shop. They serve like little snacks and they serve craft beers, and then they've got this pretty decent game library. So we all sat down, and a couple delightful people joined us. Joanna, she's just a sweetheart. She's with Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Megan Naxter. She was working at the Capstone booth, and she's just a breath of fresh air, just a sweet gal. And then Chris from Boards and Swords. And so we're all there, and we're playing some of these. We played Spyfall, and we played For Sale, and we played a couple other. Megan taught us a game. I forget the name of it right now, but I lost right away, and it was horrible. But we're not supposed to bring your own food in there.
No.
Okay, but I always have my backpack full of food.
Jerky.
Especially my jerky. Berkey's jerky is always in the backpack, but I decided not to bring my backpack, so I had my big cargo pants on. So instead of having backpack jerky, I had pocket
pantsing.
Pocket jerky. Yes, and you don't want to just take pocket jerky from anybody. You don't know how long it's been in the pocket, right? But they're vacuum packed, well done food. Anyway, we're not supposed to eat it, so the waitress, she'd go away, and after they get their drinks or whatever, and we'd sneak it out and pretend it was like chewing gum, and we were passing it along the table, and everybody's like, and it got funnier and funnier and funnier, and boy, did we eat a bunch of jerky that night.
Wow.
But that was so much. Those kind of memories, that's what this hobby does. Get to spend time, meet new people. We get to have these interactions, and it was just so dang fun. Yeah, they were cargo pants, Rick. They weren't. I don't wear tight. I'm not preppy enough to wear tight, skinny jeans. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skinny jeans don't look good on me. I can tell you that.
Okay.
And they crush the peas. So.
Pea crush.
Yeah, pea crush.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I did get to play a few games back at the hotel with Flavian's family. He brought his wife and his 2 kids. And so we played some games, which I cannot remember for the life of me what names they were. We actually played Love Letter, I think. Yeah, Love Letter. That was the one game I do remember. But, yeah, it was a hard day's work. We'd go back to the hotel. The hotel was a long way away. We had to get the taxi, book the taxi in because we didn't know what time we were going to be finished. And it was like a long slog back. And we'd get to the hotel. We'd have something to eat. And the restaurant was fantastic food. We'd play a few games, chat, drink a bit, and then bed. Next day, do the same thing. I was demoing from 9 till 6, so as well as setting up the game. Yeah, there was only 2 of us, and we also had Mike Rudman give us a hand half a day each day. He was super. He picked up the game like that, and he was teaching the game easily. Great bloke, great bloke. I'd love to work with him again. So thanks, Mark.
I'll tell you one other little quick story about going out after eat. One night we went to the Blue Pig meetup, and just super fun. Tons of people. That place was crammed, and it was in a fairly small environment. So we went over there, and we were there for about 45 minutes or so, and we played a game with Kentucky Mike, Mike Smith, and that was fun. And then it was starting, you could see people wanted to get in there, and it was starting to get really crowded. So we left to go out and have a meal. And Brian Pope takes us out, and he says, "Have you ever had a tomahawk ribeye?" No. And so Dave Lowry was with us, and Jason Benita, the co-designer of Spoils, and Tony Galati, the sales manager of Arcane Wonders. And so we go over to this place called the Hyatt Place. Now, these are places that I normally don't go, okay? Because I'm broke. And
yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
So anyway, we go in there, and he says, "Yeah, let's do this tomahawk thing." Okay, well, this tomahawk, this is like Fred Flintstone type of stuff. I mean, this is like you set it on the rail of your window at the drive-through of Fred Flintstone, and the whole car turns over. Yeah. This thing had a rib that was like 18 inches on it, and this tomahawk ribeye that was like this thick. I mean, this thing was 34 ounces.
Oh my
goodness.
Where did you put it?
Well, I have hollow legs, and I don't eat breakfast and dinner, so it's no problem. But that's what happened. Everyone says, "You can't eat that." And then Brian got his, and Dave got his, and then Brian and Dave, they start getting back and forth like, "You can't eat that." And Tony says, "Yeah, Brian, you never eat it all." And so it's back and forth. Bets start to ensue.
The dice come out.
Well, then they started to involve me in the bet. So I don't want to bet anything. Gosh. Oh, here we go. Brian says, "You ain't gonna eat that." And I said, "I could breathe this." I don't even, are you kidding me? So yeah, no, Rick, it didn't go in my pocket. I mean, this wasn't a Trading Spaces moment where Dan Aykroyd is eating his salmon through his beard. Okay, that's not what happened. I scarf this thing down. David, he has this huge salad, and he scarfs it down, but I scarfed it down. I ate some asparagus, and my wife is happy now. So that was all good. And Brian just barely ate it, but he was struggling. And but talk about fun. That was these are these moments that you relive them, and you think about the times that you had. I think about, and we're going to talk about this pros and cons here, I think, right next. But the only thing I wanted to say is after I go to these conventions, you're working, especially when you're working, time goes so fast. It's just like boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. You're having these wonderful moments with people. You're having reacquainting with your friends. You are doing these special things that you have these memories. And I'm driving home from this thing, and I'm recounting these memories, these moments that I had. And it kind of almost makes you emotional, because you go, "Oh, that was awesome. Oh, that was awesome. Oh," it's just one thing after another. And these are the kind of enrichments I think that gaming and the hobby has given us. And those moments are really special to me. So that's that. So should we get into our Babble topic with this, what we were just talking about?
Yeah, instead of, because otherwise we go on and on about our memory lanes. And
I could talk about it for so long. It's just so awesome. So many great people that I met, and we're going to miss out all the great people that we want to talk about
I've missed out loads already, so...
I know, and we apologize for that. It's just so hard.
And again, there's so many people that come up to you and say, "Hey, yeah, my name is blah, 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 and I'm with the podcast. What can you interview?"
I met Bernard. Bernard
Bernard
is the guy that you don't probably know him, but he's the guy that helps out the Secret Cabal Gaming podcast. This is a Blue Pig, Pink Pig coin. He does ad specialties. And Christina, we're at the Secret Cabal meetup at the Gordon Bruce Brewery, and we're having dinner there. And Christina brings Bernard over, and Bernard says, yeah, I've been meaning to meet you, Berkey. I've heard about you before. And so we end up having this great talk, and we're talking about his business a little and talking about what's going on in the hobby. And here's one of these guys that you hear on the podcast that you talk back and forth, but all of a sudden now we've got a face and we've got a new relationship. And that is just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the same from the UK Expo. As I said, people would say their names so fast and their podcast so fast, in one ear, out the other. Let's talk about the game. It's like, right, thank you, bye. And it's like, you didn't give me a card. Give me a card. Oh.
Yeah, it takes this is I think a skill that you learn when you're networking with people though too, is to interact at that level and get those cards out and talk about, you know, I always try to engage them and find out what they're doing. And I try to remember that. Sometimes I'm really bad at names. You know, I know who they are, but it's like the name is slipping me in the moment.
Yeah.
And you need to move on. You don't want to, you ever have those awkward moments you want to say, and what's your name again? I do care about you and I do know who you are, but I've got a brain fart here.
Business cards are very important. The amount of people that gave me business cards, and I was able to, when I got home, I was able to remember them. There was a guy that came past twice, and I knew his name instantly because he'd given me his card, he'd enforced his name, it was stuck in my head, and we had a little chat, and, you know, that's making good business contact. As I said, there were some podcasters who just come along and said, well, it's blue, and I'm with the do podcast. And it's like, and then with the whole ambience of, you know, these events, the amount of noise that you got coming at you, and again, people asking you, excuse me, how does this bit work again? At the same time,
yeah, exactly.
Your brain is in 15 places. So business card, enforce your name, enforce your product, enforce what you're selling, and maybe leave a bit of space for the person if they are busy demonstrating or doing something else at the same time.
Well, one of the unique things about conventions, there's a big difference going to a convention where you're attending and then going to a convention where you're working. And that's what we want to talk about a little bit. And Barry, this, if I understand right, this was your first convention that you were primarily working at a convention, right?
It was, yes, it was. And I have the same feeling, though. I have the same feeling of contentness working there as I do just visiting. I didn't get to see everything. I didn't get to play test anything. But I managed to encounter lots of people. There were people that I knew, people that come up to me and saw me. There's even a friend from my old street in Southampton. He was at the event, and that was a shock because I kind of like knew he was into board games, but he, you know, passed in the background. He said, "Hey, Barry," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Greg," and it was like, wow. That unfortunately we didn't get time to chat because, as I said, our demo tables were jam-packed all through the 3 days. And I was having to fight people off and send people home. Sorry, this table will be finished in 25 minutes. Come back in 25 minutes. They'd come back in 25 minutes. There's still another 10 minutes. Come back in 10 minutes. Or just wait there. And it was like some people had to be, you know.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But at the same time,
that's kind of the nature of demoing and different play groups, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is the difference between working at a gaming convention versus going to a convention as an attendee and playing a lot of different games?
I found working fun. There's not the having to fight through the crowd like you do when you are attending an event. And again, there's no disappointment when you're working. Again, I can't really speak for if you're working part-time and doing attending at the same time, but if you're working full day, you haven't got the hassles of crowds in your way. You haven't got to fight your way through anything. You have, except for when you're in the toilet. That's the main thing. And that's the worst thing when you go to the toilet and you encounter people that know you and they want to shake your hand in the toilet. It's like,
no, hey, you don't want to do that.
No. Hey, Gil Hoover, fist pump me, man.
Yeah, I heard you. I saw Gil Hova at Origins, and he said he had talked to you at UK Gaming Expo.
Yeah, he's great.
Gil's
guy.
awesome.
He's awesome. Respect, Gil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, for me personally, from my personal experience, it's fun because I'm talking to people and meeting people and seeing people be happy, which is the great thing about working there. And it's also the great thing about attending there. So I haven't got really much of a difference apart from, you know, nothing.
Well, I think for me,
it's just a great social event.
Yeah. I think for me, you know, my convention experience really started a little over 4 years ago when I took Josiah as his graduation gift to Gen Con, and his best friend and his dad, who's a good friend of mine, we all went together. So we had this amazing experience. But it was like within a year, then we started becoming more engaged in the hobby as a whole and really immersing ourselves in everything that's happening. And then as Board Game Theater came online and we started doing the thematic gameplay and on our YouTube channel, and then now with you, Berkey and Badger, creating, you know, a podcast content and becoming a little bit better known to where I'm going places and connecting more with people. I've been to Gen Con 4 times. I've been to Dice Tower Con twice. I've been to BGG Con 4 times. I've been to Origins twice, Con of the North twice. Was recently at the CMON Expo down in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm getting ready to go to Dice Tower Con again here in a couple days. And then I will be at Gen Con again and BGG Con and probably Grand Con out in Michigan in September. And so my convention experience is getting more and more. I've worked at these conventions, helping Arcane Wonders primarily, but I helped Gray Fox Games when Champions of Midgard first came out. And so I've had both of experiences where I'm there just attending, enjoying the spectacle, doing the gaming. There's different conventions that are more geared towards gaming and more conventions that are more geared towards spectacle. All the new offerings, all the highlights of what's happening. And when I think about pros and cons of working, I find it really gratifying to work, interacting with the people. And for me, it's different than most people. There's not too many people doing it the way I do it, getting up in a costume and having a character. But nonetheless, we had a guy, his name is Derek, plasterer from Indiana, and he was in the booth and he was demoing Spoils of War 2, but I was in character. He didn't have a costume on, but he got into character. And there was so much energy in the booth because of that. So his presentation, everybody's got a different style, how you demo games, and you don't want to be too far over the top, but you want to engage people well. And he was able to do that, and it was really lovely. And we had so many great ambassadors for Arcane Wonders that was there. But a lot of these companies, one of the pros, if you will, they will oftentimes comp your badge for you. And a badge can be $100 to get into the convention. Some of these companies will comp you games for the hours that you work. Arcane Wonders is really generous to their ambassadors. They give them a certain dollar amount that they get games afterwards. And this is something this is a little insider information. It doesn't happen with everybody, but a lot of the publishers, they have their workers that do this. And then the workers will run around between different booths and trade games. So for instance, I traded a copy of Spoils of War, and I got the new Templar's Journey from Queen Games. I traded a Spoils of War and Onitama expansion, and I got Through the Ages from Czech Games, talking to Peter. Excuse me. So that was a positive, a pro for doing some work. So there's a little bit of a reward, I guess.
Yeah.
The overall takeaway from working for me is interaction with the people. It's just a blast.
Exactly.
The con of it is it's exhausting. For me, I'm doing a little bit of a theatrical presentation, but you're also trying to represent the game well. So maybe a little bit of salesmanship, if you will. Not really. I mean, but you know, you're there representing the company. But nonetheless, you want to present it well. So you have that kind of pressure to do that. But then you have to step out of that role to go into socialization mode when you're connecting with people.
Yeah.
For me, I was stepping out of that role and then talking to people about our new product coming out. So I had to go into business mode as well. Well, you do that for a long period of time, and that's a little bit exhausting. So you need to be prepared to talk for long periods of time. It's a really good idea to have throat lozenges. I always have my Ricola with me to help with your voice. It's a good idea to make sure, like you're saying, to eat is probably a smarter, and drink a lot of water. I always had several, drink a couple bottles of water while I was working. Other than that, I don't really think of a lot of cons other than the fact that you might not be able to participate in some of the feature things that you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're working a shift.
Mm. Yeah. You are bound to a post, and you have to, as you say, you have to be the promoter and you have to be the explainer and everything. I found it a bit hard at first to jump between roles, especially first thing in the morning when press would come in before everyone else, and it was like, I'm prepared, I've set the board up, I'm preparing how the rules work, and it was an interview, and it's like, in this game you play Batman. It's like, whoa, brain freeze. But yeah, the hard bit is the stress of, I don't know if you've ever set up a booth. I had to set up the booth. I had to retrieve all the goods, arrange the tables in the right place. And again, not doing this before, I had to ask lots of questions. And luckily, the guys in the UK at Gaming Expo were really, really friendly. They were very, very tired by the end of the setup day, obviously because they have all these expositors and all these questions coming their way. But they were really, really helpful, and you know, I always got a result with them. So it's probably harder for them than it was for me. But yeah, one of the things is you've got to be prepared to work with other people and compromise and help each other out. And as you said, throat lozenges would have been useful if I'd have thought of that. Also some chapstick, because my lips were sore and dry from all the talking, but I was well watered. I was very well watered.
I think one of the things too that you really want to do too, if you're going to be demoing a game, try to ask the publisher ahead of time. I think publishers are getting better and better about training their ambassadors. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they're grabbing everybody at the last minute too, because maybe they've had a cancellation and it's a little chaotic. Like you say, you got the booth set up, you have a lot of things going on, and you might have someone who is a good organizer, but nonetheless, things are a little hectic. Yeah. Getting set up in time and be ready for that launch. I think good publishers do a great job training their staff. Tony Galati had all the Arcane Wonders ambassadors out for a dinner before the show started, so he could give them their expectations and what he'd like to see happening. And I think that's a smart move. But for your own responsibility, if you're teaching a game and you know so ahead of time, if you don't know ahead of time, ask some questions. Don't just show up and say, okay, I'm here, I'm available. Take a little extra initiative and say, what games are you thinking you want me to demo? That way you can get the rules ahead of time. Maybe you could get the game ahead of time and do some study and be prepared, kind of get your paddle down, you know, get that little pratter of what you want to say and how you want to say it. After you've done it a few times, you'll streamline it so it's really quick. But that's really helpful to do a little bit of work ahead of time.
Yeah, with me, I had one guy working with me, Flavian. I had to teach him the game when I arrived. And then we had Mike Rudman come and give us help half days. And he came along early on the first day, so I could teach him the game, and he actually played the game. So he was learning how to teach the game as well as play the game. And then later on in the afternoon, he'd come back and he would demo the game. So doing it at the same time is also a very, very useful and easy way to do it. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a kind of just a little advice type of thing. I think find out the type of convention. You know, if there's a specific convention, like for me, Dice Tower Con, I'm not going to be working there much. I'm going to have some networking work with game toppers, but I'm not there primarily. I'm not going to be working in the booth much. You know, I might spell Tony for his lunch break or something like that if he needs a hand, because I'll always be available to help if he needs me. But, you know, I'm not going there in that capacity, because this is a convention I get to hang out with a lot of my friends, and I actually get to play games, and it's a little more relaxed. So, but that convention is perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
You take a convention like Gen Con. Well, if you want to go because you want to see all the new stuff, don't work.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get so busy, you're going to get overwhelmed with the chaos of working and the activity that's there, and then to shift modes and try to go through all that and see everything, you just won't have enough time. So if you want to go there for visitor, go there for that purpose. If you want to go there to work and network with people, and I tell you what, if you want to get into the hobby and you want to get to know people, offer to help some publishers. Go in there and just do a great job. Be the best you can be. Take some initiative. Pete Shirey used to work with Asmodee, and he became coordinator for a lot of their stuff. Before you know it, Cool Mini saw what he was doing and said, "Hey, we need that guy," and they hired him.
Yeah.
And you'll make industry connections. People will, if you stand out and you do a good job and you're a respectable type of person, they'll take a notice.
Yeah, because the guys at the other booths may walk past and, you know, be interested in what you're doing. I mean, we've had that several times as well. There were other French companies that were there, and they were going, "Oh, well, where's the manager?" I said, "Well, he's still in France." He said, "Okay, let's say hi to him." He was like, "Oh.
Yeah, where's
the manager?"
Personally, I'd recommend if you have a personality that likes to, you know, a little bit more outgoing personality, and you're not afraid when people come into the booth, I'd highly recommend for you to work with some publishers. I know some people who are a little bit schemish, you know, with people, and that's pretty common personality trait too. Chaz Marler, for one, Paradise. He's always talked about social anxiety and how it's hard for him, but he's been able to overcome that fear by working in an environment that feels more safe for him. And he's good at explaining games, so he can engage at that level and feel safe enough to where he can improve those skills, and he does a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a case of adapting to your environment. There are going to be players that are different in each table that you teach a game. I had one kind of nerve-wracking moment where I had one of those players, and they were 10 years old, who were asking me questions before I was about to explain what the rule was, which became very frustrating. And keeping my cool, I found it a bit hard to keep my cool. Yeah,
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
Yeah. It was one of those moments, and the dad was there saying, Princess, he's going to tell you." But no, her mouth would keep opening, and
so you said, "Princess, I'll get to that in just a moment."
Yeah, and then I fell into father-daughter mode for me. So, yeah. Anyway, let's finish that subject. I'm having bad repercussions now. I'm having twitches.
Well, do you have any closing thoughts about working or visiting conventions you want to say?
Enjoy yourself, be active, be boisterous, not boisterous, but, you know, be bravadous, be loud, not too loud, because you want your voice to last the next couple of days as well. Make sure you're comfy, you've got comfy clothes on. Make sure you eat a good breakfast before you start, because you never know when you're going to eat sometimes. Make sure you've got a good supply of drink, and make sure you've always got someone there to help you up and back you up, so you can be covered and you can shoot off, especially if you're running the booth yourself. But most of all, just have fun and meet people, and just you know, see how the game actually changes from time to time, because I was really amazed the amount of times that I saw the same scenario acted out, but in so many different ways, and someone would come up with some new strategy which is mind-blowing that you would have never thought of. These kind of, you know, it was just really, really engrossing experience. Sometimes I would get so engrossed in watching the game that I would forget that there were 20,000 people around me wanting to play the same game. I'm a bit of a stickler for rules as well, so I was always keeping my eye on the tables and like, no, you can't do that. Put that back. Put that back. It doesn't go in your mouth. Put it back.
Yeah, I would kind of concur with just what you say. One of the things that I've learned, and I've heard this talked about before, but is to be in the moment. Sometimes that, you know, I can sometimes be the squirrel moments, you know, this distraction, you know, there's so much going on, there's so much stimuli, and for me to learn to be in the moment. So
especially when there's cosplayers walking past, you go, wow, hello.
That's what you do when I'm playing. Yes, yes. No, I just found that valuing that moment with that individual, whoever they are, and to engage them, looking them in the eye, really doing my best to listen well, because I like to talk, so I have to train myself to not talk almost too.
don't move there. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. Oh.
That's why we call this the babble, right? Because we're babbling off the top of our head. But I think that's one of the things. I'm learning to stay in that moment and really engage them, and enjoy every moment rather than worrying about, oh, I'm missing this because I'm not over there. No, I'm right here. I'm with you, and I want to enjoy this moment. And then when that moment passes, we go to the next moment, but then we stay in that moment.
Yeah.
And I love that, and that's I'm getting better and better at that.
Yeah, really enjoyable experience. I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully it'll be at Gen Con. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Do you have opportunities yet?
Nothing is passed under my radar, but I'm hoping. And if you want to help out at Gen Con,
call them up.
Give me a message, barry@monolithedition.com.
Hey, I could get a game topper in their booth with a custom Batman.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole bunch of game toppers at a whole bunch of different publishers' booth at Gen Con.
I will write that down and mention it to them.
Yeah, I should get in contact with them. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be so great to see you. My good friend Jesse Shakey's coming with me. I'm so thankful. He's such a good guy, but he's going to come and help me distribute tables and different things like that. And I am so looking forward, because I'm not working at Gen Con, except one day it appears the good sheriff of Nottingham may revisit the land of Nottingham.
Will he be coming out from underneath that beard of yours?
Well, there is an expansion called All the King's Men, or not All the King's Men, the Merry Men expansion. Could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
The Merry of Men.
So the good sheriff may make a reprisal roll.
Cool.
But I said I can only do it one day because I've got a lot of stuff to do, and that's a good thing too. You know, to know your limitations, know what you can do and what you can't do, and go from there.
Exactly, and they can make a special day of it, couldn't they? They can say, for one day only, the sheriff is coming to town. And
that's what they're looking to do. And last year we did a Sergio Halaban, the designer, was there, and he signed autographs, and that was super fun. So, but the new game Viral is going to be one of their key games, and that's a new Dice Tower Essential. And that game looks really cool. I saw a couple of the videos of it. I saw the prototype, but that's a unique theme that I think is that game is going to get some buzz.
Yeah.
I don't know how to cosplay it other than maybe I could do a kidney. I look like a big kidney.
Oh dear. Oh,
okay. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe
a bearded kidney. No, I don't want to do it.
Maybe they can make you into a spore or something. Or a tribble.
Well, I tell you what, Barry, I would love to see you at Gen Con. That would be fantastic. I would love someday to be able to get to Essen. I would love to go there.
Yeah, and maybe we can play Spoils of War, and you can show me how the role playing works in Spoils of War.
There you go. Well, I think we're about ready to sign off. We've had a long show, but it's been a lot of fun. Conventions are awesome. If you like this idea of getting in on some of that and teaching people games and enjoying that interaction, or if you just want to go and visit, man, crank it up, play a bunch of games, go to some conventions and enjoy yourself. And with that, I think we're ready to sign off. You want to tell people where they can find us, Barry?
In bed in about 20 minutes.
Sleeping?
Yeah, you can find Berkey at boardgamestheater.com. You can find me at boardgameseverybodyshould.com. You can find Berkey and Badger on both of those sites, as well as on Facebook, Berkey and Badger Facebook page.
Berkey and Badger.
We're also
the Board Game Geek Guild.
Yes, we're at the Board Game Geek Guild. Board Game Geek Guild is 2248, and I don't think anyone responded to our question for this Babble, which I'm upset about. So if you
we got to get some more guild stuff. I'm not very good at the guild, but we got to get some more of that.
Yeah, so if you are on the guild, send us some suggestions for topics. Send us some comments that we can mention in the Babble, like your favorite convention to go to, which you could have done. I should have done that. Shoot yourself in the foot, Barry. Anywho, thank you very much for watching. Kabuki Kid, you need to set your clock a bit more forward because we missed you.
Yeah, we do miss Kabuki. I was just responding. She said, is there more interesting cards to Sheriff expansion? And yeah, there's actually 2 assistants too. So they're modules that you can add and play with or not play with. And it's supposed to be really enjoyable. And
I've heard there's some artifacts that you can mix in from Spoils of War and muck the game up completely.
Yeah, and you can throw in a Trog from Cry Havoc.
Oh, that'd be good. Trog
Rider.
Trog of Riders.
Trog Riders in the
night.
He said she was unavailable. No, we just love you. We just love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. And just a reminder, go to boardgametheater.com because you can get in on the contest to win up to 4 copies of Spoils of War, graciously donated by Arcane Wonders. With that, Barry, send us on out.
Okie dokie. Push that button. Push this button.
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go.
I don't want to.
It won't be long till we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.